Hey guys, before we start this episode, we just want to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of Scott Cummin. Truly one of the greatest strongmen to ever come out of Canada, maybe the best strongman to ever come out of Western Canada. He was an 8-time Western Canada Strongest Man. He was a multiple-time Canada Strongest Man podium finisher. He was a 2-time competitor at World's Strongest Man. He was one of the early pioneers of Western Canadian strongman. He did shows in the Toronto Pro Show. He did a lot of big events, and he did a lot to build up the sport of strongman in Canada in general. He was also a father of 2 young boys, and he was a mentor to a lot of people in Saskatchewan and Regina, specifically at Metal Gym there. He brought up guys like Isaac Mays. He brought up guys like James Jeffers. He was crucially important to the Western Canadian strongman scene. He was ungodly strong. He volunteered. Like the Westerns were, but my first ever Westerns that I did, he was there just holding the podiums for stones. You had a guy who competed twice at World's Strongest Man, just giving back like that. I didn't know him really well, but from all accounts, he was a truly fantastic man, great father, and we know him as a great competitor. I got to compete against him once, my very first competition, and he absolutely mopped the floor with everybody. So condolences to Scott and his family. Anything you want to add?
I didn't know him personally. I've seen a lot of people say just wonderful things about him. He seemed really integral to the strongman community out there. So I know he's going to be missed. That community has a big hole to fill.
Rest in peace, Scott Cummin. This episode of Iron Age Radio is brought to you by the one and only Schram Cattle Co. from Cartwright, Manitoba. Manitoba, born, raised, and slaughtered cows in the best damn province to do it in, by the best damn man to do it, Mark, the Manitoba cowboy Schram. We sell his beef here. Everybody at the gym kind of has it here. You can contact him for it too. Nobody has a bad word to say about it once they buy it. Everybody's a repeat customer. It's some of the best beef that you can have. Would you agree with that sentiment?
I haven't had it. I have a free supply of elk.
All right, I asked the wrong man, but it's great, and you can take my word for it. Tyler Sigurdsson, consumer of beef. Enjoy the show, guys. All right, here we are, episode 36, I'm pretty sure, of Iron Age Radio. I'm joined again by the consumer of OSG, Michael Thrones, the man who watches OSG like nobody else that I know, and probably nobody else that you know. We had him here last week. We had you here last week. I'm talking to the people and you at the same time. We had you here last week to discuss the women's side of OSG. Great response from people. A lot of people watched it. It was nice to see like our friend Inez share it. That was really sweet of her to do. Yeah. That gives us a little bump all the time whenever that happens. And great analysis. I think that like you got a lot of great information out there that people aren't necessarily talking about when it comes to like the weight classes and the masters division and all that stuff. It's easy to kind of only focus on the open division of stuff.
You see them more often.
You see them more often, right? And it's we tend to gravitate to where the heaviest weights are being lifted, obviously, and stuff. But it's not necessarily where the heaviest weights are is where the best or the most amazing performances are, which can often happen in the weight classes as we saw, or the age divisions as we saw in the women's divisions. So we're going to go over today the men's side of things, from the teen boys all the way to the men's open. And I'll preface this with if we strike a nerve, if we say anything that you agree with, disagree with. If we mention somebody that you know or whatever, and you have some insight that we don't necessarily have on something, we had Jackie Oshevsky's handler / husband was nice enough to drop a line in and let us know kind of some of the inside workings of how that call went with the Nick Best Circus Dumbbell on our comments. Did you see that one?
Yeah. I didn't see his post on it, but I saw that she made a post addressing it today. Yeah, he was cool enough to drop in and just kind of say, hey, this is what happened. So thank you for that. And if that happens again with anybody else that we know and we're missing information or you want to add to something, please. We love the contributions and we love the conversation. And on the note of Jackie's post, I thought that was a really good showcase because she talked about how frustrating it was.
Sure.
And watching it, I felt frustrated because I want Jackie to do well.
Right.
Fellow Canadian athlete. I say fellow as if I'm not even a strongman, but
fellow Canadian strength athlete. Your sister in iron, if you will.
But Jackie met her a few times at Strongest Woman in Western Canada.
Super nice lady.
Yeah, and she talked about the frustration, but like watching it, you'd have no idea.
No,
which is exactly how an athlete should respond in that situation.
Right.
You have all the time in the world to be frustrated and get over it before the next event.
Absolutely.
Particularly at OSG, you have all the time in the world. But,
yeah, you have lots of
time. I guess not so much this year because they were doing the different organization, which actually was one thing we didn't talk about.
Which we will discuss that with the men's side of things then.
Yeah, that was like the one thing on the organization that we skipped over.
Yeah.
But so props to Jackie. Exactly how it should be handled.
Just pure class on that one. Yeah. In a situation that could have easily devolved into something ugly if someone who was in less control of their emotions and their feelings in that moment in a very high stress, high pressure situation, it gets dealt kind of a crappy hand like that. So
for you athletes out there newer to the sport, or just find that maybe your emotions take over at competitions, go read Jackie's post. She really words it well, kind of how she was feeling, and you like I said, just watching it, you'd have no idea. So that's exactly how you should handle yourself.
It's easy, especially when you're a new lifter or a newer competitor. I think that the more seasoned and the more experience you get, the better most people will say, will handle bad calls, will handle things that are outside of your control or things that are frustrating or make you angry. Like we've all seen people not handle it well. We've all seen people handle them really well. And I've said before that it's usually the new guys, the green guys, the young guys who, you'll hear a profanity fly out after they miss a lift or whatever. And kind of remind them it's a family show or whatever. And I've said this before, but there's only one time that I can think of that it was appropriate for someone to yell "fuck" after they missed a lift, and it's when Thor missed his world record deadlift. When he put it down, he yelled "fuck," and the whole crowd was like, "Oh yeah, that does suck" at the Arnold's. And that's the only time I think it's appropriate.
The Arnold.
Yeah, the elephant bar deadlift that he did there.
Oh, I was so caught on Eddie Hall's.
Right. Yeah.
My brain was stuck on that. I couldn't. As soon as you said Thor, and I was like, no, it was Eddie Hall. But that warranted it too.
Yeah.
When he dropped it because he forgot that particular competition you weren't allowed to drop it after the down command.
Yes,
that's warranted.
There's very few occasions where yelling out to the heavens and screaming "fuck" is appropriate, and that's one of them. Yeah. Not when you miss a 500-pound deadlift at a local show.
They're both. Basically, if you are attempting a world record deadlift, you can do it. But
that's what
no other lift, no other record,
and no other venue than the Arnold's or a Giant's Life. So we want to we want to get on to the men's side of things, but I think that one thing that's worth mentioning could have come out of the women's side that was sort of interesting was a post from Erin Murray, who won the 73 division.
U82 this year.
82 this year. She has won in the past.
73, twice U73, twice U82.
So a 4-time world champion. And she had a really interesting post that she put up about just sort of the feeling of what you do after you've done it all. After you've literally been the best in the world at what you're trying to do 4 times. And, she stepped up before to the open weight, too, several times now. Mm-hmm. She's...
Arnold's, and... Oh, she was a reserve for Rogue last year.
Yeah, and she's done the Arnold a couple times. And she's like awesome to see compete in that way, and she's very open and honest in that post that she made about how she's not trying to go to the Arnold's to win. She's trying to go to the Arnold's to have a good performance and show that she can hang with those ladies in that way. And it's interesting to hear her kind of talk about what might be in the future for her. But it sounds to me like maybe more weight class domination is what she's thinking about.
Yeah. So if you haven't watched the post, it was really well worded. She talked about her priorities. And kind of what it came down to for her was the prestige and titles. So that's obviously being a 4-time weight class world's strongest woman across 2 different categories, and then experiences. So that was kind of lent itself more to those open weight shows like
sure.
OSG. Like I've never been to Texas. I'm sure Arlington is great. But at the competition itself, if you've talked to somebody from OSG, it's very much you're being told be here at this time, and not just like be at the venue half an hour before it starts. Like all right, everybody to the hallway now.
stand in this box, which is something that we're going to adopt for our competitions next year. I'll tell you that was awesome.
As much as I'm sure like local competitors don't want to feel like we're herding cattle onto the competition floor. Y'all can be hard to wrangle sometimes.
Yes, and that was one that I was like, that's so
it's
simple,
small enough change.
Yeah, it's so simple, it's so small, and it's really gonna save time, I think.
Yeah, and that'll be a great opportunity to have like no more athletes get called up and they still have to put their belt and the wrist wraps on. Like you're standing on a square that says I'm up next.
Right, you got to be ready. That's like the first time I went to see just what you're talking about here, where it's the idea of kind of moving from like just a very mechanical, like if you're not ready, this thing moves on without you kind of thing, like OSG is, or like most competitions are, or at least should be. And then you go to say the Arnold's, like when I first went to CSM, to Canada's Strongest Man, I remember I was panicking trying to wrap my knees for the squat. Like I was like trying to go as fast as I possibly could because I'm used to the idea that it's like if I'm not ready, they're going to just blow the whistle and who knows what's going to happen. And I remember JF just being like, "Hey, chill out. Like this is like the show is about you guys. Like we want you to do well." And I was like, "Oh wow, this is a very, very different experience than everything I've ever done in Strongman." And so like I've never been to the Arnold's, but when you do the next level, those bigger shows, it speaks to what you said, the experience aspect of it. It's very, very different than even the highest level of weight class or division stuff like OSG.
Yeah, and then the last one you mentioned was the financial, and so like those open shows, they're both the biggest for the prize money. They have the most diverse and interesting experiences. But ultimately, what she came away with by the end of it, and talking about obviously like weighing pros and cons in the video itself, was that ultimately for her, it breaks down to the prestige is the number one factor in getting those titles. So yeah, it sounds like a lot more weight class domination, but I thought it was a really interesting video with her thinking through it and understanding that there's pros and cons with each option, each priority. So it was just really good to see her thinking through that process. It felt like in real time. I'm sure it was something that she thought through in private first before just like throwing it on Instagram. But it really felt like she was taking you through kind of her thought process. Yeah, and it was really cool.
It's nice to get insight on an athlete like that. So somebody who's being open and honest and vulnerable in a post like that, and being like, this is kind of what I deal with after having a gigantic win, is that it's not as simple as just being like, there, I did it, and being satisfied with that. It's what comes next.
Yeah, and I got to say, she really kind of harped on that, like the financial opportunities are highest with the open weight class athletes, but and she said that she doesn't see that changing in her career, I think it was like being able to truly make a living as a weight class athlete in her career, and I mean with the way that the weight classes have grown in the past few years, I'm not sold that she's right on that one. Well, I think that with the size of the weight classes now, the competitiveness, I mean, I think there was more weight class. There was more like athletes in like the U90 men and the U105 men than there were in the Open this year. I'd have to double check, but it was at least very close.
It was a lot. Yeah.
It was at least like not significantly different. And I also think that getting that more prize money will come with having great athletes, with putting their personality out there, like Erin, and although she doesn't do many U82 shows, but like Sam as well.
Sure.
I think they could be really great ambassadors.
Yeah, they have a distinct look. People know them. Like it's tough when you think about, like, say, you could get lower middle of the pack at an open competition like Rogue and get paid more than winning most weight class shows. It's an interesting sort of thing that she like that's where this these different priorities come into play, is that she could probably do better financially doing okay or so at the open weight shows than she would do winning the weight class shows, but she's acknowledged that the idea of being world champion is important to her too, and like showing that she is the best at what she does. I really appreciated that perspective.
Hopefully future athletes don't have to make that choice.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
So into the men.
Yes. So a couple of the production things that we didn't discuss last time was we touched on it a little bit here, but the mechanical nature of the whole thing, where there was a couple times where guys just were like walking up and sauntering up and putting their stuff on still, and things started rolling without them, or they barely got there ready in time. And there was a couple like shocked faces and like expressions to referees and shit, but it's like, man, you got to know how OSG runs by now. Even if you only watched it ever before in the past, if you've never been there, you know this is how it goes. Because if every round, if every heat takes 5 seconds longer, man, we're in for a long day. And you think it's nothing, but it's not. It's not nothing. And those little boxes to have everyone standing on, be ready, like just everyone being exactly where they need to be at any given time, or you're just not there. Love that about OSG. I really do like that.
There was very few times where the camera went to the guys waiting for an event. More so in like the initial event. I mean, there was a few times where it seemed like the organizers didn't know that somebody wasn't coming.
Maybe that.
We know somebody who that was the case for. Yeah, there was very few times especially after the first event, where the camera went to the guys waiting. Right. Next heat, and there was an empty spot.
Yeah, it just people were ready. They knew where they had to be at every given moment.
Yeah, and even the majority of those, or I'd say maybe half of those, because it was only a handful of times, was seemed to be that they just knew that they were going to zero. Mm-hmm. So they just didn't bother lining up.
Right. Yeah.
And there was only a couple where it was an empty spot, and then you saw somebody running across the field after the rest of the heat was already walking out.
Yeah.
So the organizers did a great job of making sure that athletes were aware.
Yeah.
Or just drilling into the athletes' heads, like, you got to be on the ball.
Yep.
Like, we're just going to leave you behind.
Yep.
And I think the organizers really probably had more of a say in that, because I can't imagine that many athletes being that responsible.
There's no way. There's no way. And the way that I always appreciate it is that when they talk about, say, like OSG, or when they talk about the Arnolds or these big shows, and we try to adapt this with our shows too, is that when we say athletes ready, it's not a question. It's a statement. You should be ready right now. And if you're not, we're going to go anyway. So,
one thing that's occurred, or that I've thought about, is changing the terminology. Because athletes ready sounds like a question, whereas...
That's interesting. What would you say?
Well, because I have the track and field background.
Sure.
On your mark, set, and then gun, right?
Yeah.
So you're telling them, on your mark.
Right.
Like, get on.
Yeah, I actually like that. We could start adapting that for the strongman stuff. Athlete ready is just what everyone said. I don't know why that turned in, like... I guess because at Worlds they probably said that.
I think Colin Bryce always used that at Worlds when he was refereeing. Yeah. Like even in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah. So it just became the thing that even at like every low level of competition, people say athlete ready. I do it with my athletes when we're just like testing in here. They're just practicing stuff. So maybe something to consider. Maybe we're changing to more of a track and field style event here.
I would really like. So for my job, I'm looking into some research equipment and for potential ordering, but. Yeah, so there's a couple of brands that I was looking at, and I was like, oh, they got a timing gate system.
Oh, that would be cool. Yes, some laser stuff.
$1,200.
We'll put it on the list.
Yeah.
Another huge change that happened this year at OSG, we touched on a little bit earlier, was they changed the whole formatting of the competition, where before it was everyone goes through log. If we were looking at this competition, everyone goes through frame, one weight class at a time. Everyone goes through and it's ended up being this insane day where your last event would be 8 hours later than your first event. You would be literally sitting there for an entire like work day waiting for and do.
You're out there for a minute. It's 1 minute of work, 7 to 8 hours of waiting, and then 1 minute of work.
That's it. Yeah, and it's a really insane thought. Like I remember that like last year, Jeffers said that he like kind of had a feel of how things were running, and he just went back to his hotel. Yeah. After the first event, he I just went and sat and I just did a cold plunge in my hotel and just like hung out there for the next few hours. And I knew when I came back, I still had tons of time to spare. But what they changed this year was they had a few divisions that they did together where they did all the log and frame. And again, like just talking about how OSG has just like got this down to a science, like the way it was set up where it's like you're looking at the log and then all they do is they just turn the whole thing 90 degrees and then you're looking down the frame or down the lanes for the frames. Thank you. I just was like, that's just masterful. Like, that was just really, really well set up, and it really made for a great, just smooth transition.
And it's still like, it didn't look busy. It still looked like it was visually very well set up too for the stream.
Yeah. If they would have taken the logs out, you might not have guessed that was all that they did. Like it looked like it was like an actual like setup specifically for the frame after the log was done, and it was all they did was just turn it around.
Yeah, and only one that wasn't well done like that was well, actually, they were rolling all the deadlift bars out of the way for the sandbag steeplechase.
Yeah.
So that was a bit more work. That was a little bit slower. And then the dumbbell into the stones, where I think they were cleaning up like the entire dumbbell setup each time for the stones, and then vice versa.
It looked that way, yeah.
That's rough. If you don't have an army of volunteers, which like thankfully they did. Like I'm sure that Friday was probably thinner for volunteers.
Yeah,
than
probably
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, just people who could make it, right?
Yeah. So like the fact that they had the easy transition on the Friday was probably not an accident either.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, OSG has this down to a science.
Yeah, that's a good point. They really had it figured out. But so to what we said there was that they went frame and then log and then frame for 5 divisions maybe it was.
Depending on how many athletes were in the divisions.
Yeah, and then then they would go and then they're done for the day. Those athletes can go back to their hotels or go back to wherever they're at and they can just chill out and eat and rest and recover. And then the next block would do both those events, and then all the way from the weight class and masters women all the way up to the opens men, and then they were done. And it was just a very clean, easy way to do it. And I'm sure the athletes really, really appreciated it.
Yeah, it was probably about like 5 blocks of different categories going together. Probably had much more of like a normal competition feel.
Sure. Just the hour of the time of day would be the only change for the athletes. Would be like I'm competing at 6 p.m. rather than the normal 11 or whatever. But
and like it's not easy to pull off. Max and Sam tried to do that for Nationals 2024.
Yes. Yeah.
And it did not work out. And they realized as soon as they did the first transition, and then they scrapped the idea. They just ran it like a normal competition,
right?
Because it is hard to pull that off.
Yeah,
so huge props.
Yeah, I just to what you were saying with I think I might have talked about this on here before, but I did a competition in the States one time where from when we started the first event till when we got our medals or whatever at the end was 10 hours. It was 10 hours because the events were set up really poorly, where there was a lot of resetting and all that stuff. But I remember I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she sat there for 10 hours to watch 5 minutes of me competing. Because 5 events, 5 minutes, and that's all that it was. And I remember just feeling so bad for her, because it was just like a boring, normal, like nothing cool about the competition, like just a regular ass, like I think it was a Strongman Corp or USS show or whatever. And that was one where I was like, I will never have a competition go like this. That was a very eye-opening experience. But to get into the actual competition itself, we'll start off with the teen boys.
Yep.
Teen men, as it's written on there. On
our streams it's also teen men.
Is it?
Yeah, because a lot of my formulas for the graphics rely on searching for the men and women.
Oh, right.
The 2 sheets, because they're on different pages in the Google sheet. So it just finds like if the category says men in it, then it takes from this sheet. If it says women in it, then it takes from this sheet.
To be honest with you, I feel weird calling James and Ryder like teen boys anyway, because they're both goons and they look like grown men. So they're not like young, fresh-faced cherubic boys or anything. They look like adult. Well, they are adult men now, but so we have first year our teens men 13 to 15, which would have had Bubba Pritchard in it, except for that he went 1 or 2 divisions higher.
The one below the open, so it was 16 to 18.
16 to 18, yeah. So what did we have for the teen men? The teen men, 13 to 15.
So we had Ruud Holleman from the Netherlands and Titus Haynes from America. I was disappointed. I thought maybe Patty Haynes,
the
nephew or something,
the younger sibling, maybe. Yeah. It's a shame to see that it's such a sparsely populated division, especially you're not going to see a lot of like overseas people, I think, travel for a 13 to 15 competition, but I'd like to see a lot more American boys try that one, especially being in Texas. You just think there would be a lot doing it for some reason? Yeah,
Texas has like high school powerlifting and stuff. You'd think that there would just be, here's some powerlifting coaches, like high school powerlifting coaches that were just like, hey, it's right close by.
Just try it.
Like, yeah, just why not?
Yeah, well, yeah.
But no, just the 2, and Ruud really just showed out here. Took first in every event, but it kind of like what I kept saying with the teen girls. It wasn't just like blowing every event out of the water. Like he didn't smoke Titus in much. The biggest difference was the sandbag steeplechase, where Ruud finished all 4 bags in under 30 seconds, and then Titus only got 2. But Other than that, they had the same number of bars on the deadlift. They both got 3 out of the 4 bars. Ruud was just faster. They both finished the frame. Titus finished it in almost the nick of time. Like only had 9 seconds left, and Ruud was really fast, under 20 seconds. And then log, Ruud got 3 and Titus got 2. So yeah, they were both really close, or like fairly close across the whole board. Like it wasn't a blowout.
Right.
Points wise, you would think.
But, it was closer than it shows on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll move on to our next team division here. We got the 16 to 18
U105s. This is a new division.
Right.
They didn't separate it by weight class before.
Yeah. So they're having enough teen boys in this category that it's worth them splitting up the divisions a little bit, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and this division, out of any of the teen categories, this one was really stacked because not just a full podium, a full five-person roster. And so we had in first place, it was an American sweep of the podium. First place was Henry Millard. Millard, probably. If he's American, probably Millard. Probably. Sean Turner and Owen Dion. So, Henry did really well. He only dropped 2 points across the whole competition. Took second in the log, second in the deadlift, won the frame and the sandbag. So, great mover.
We're talking about this division here, too. It's like, the 13 to 15 is cool to do and everything. But this is potentially guys that you could be seeing in the next, like, as the next big dogs in their, this is a 105 class, whatever, but in anywhere from 1 to 2 years, these guys could be competing in the next division up if they wanted to, and it's cool to see get this little glimpse at where they're starting now.
Yeah, one thing I'm really excited about OSG having these teen athletes is like, I'm sure with the teens there's going to be a lot of obviously newer people starting up, and they're gonna they're gonna be jumping in whatever age they're at the time, but I'm sure that 5 to 10 years from now, we're going to have some people competing in the opens where we're like, we've watched this person progress from like maybe like the 16 to 18 into the juniors, into the opens. I mean, we
didn't mention it last time, but like Olivia Hoyam is a good example of that, where this is the first year where she was in the open age division, and it was kind of weird not seeing her competing as a teen or as a junior or whatever. Like, this is like, we've seen her all the way from pretty much from the beginning to now being part of the actual big show. It's a really interesting thing to see.
Well, did she ever do teen? I think she's just a junior.
Was she just junior, maybe?
I don't think they had teen.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah. This is her first year outside of the young division.
Yeah. So then in second, it was actually a tie on points between Sean Turner and Owen Dion. So Sean, he took first on the log, third on the frame, third on the deadlift ladder, and then second on the sandbag. I guess I don't need to go event by event for all of them. I did it for Henry Millard, and then I had the rhythm. But they finished with the same number of points. And OSG does their tiebreaker, which is the last event tiebreaker that I don't like. Actually, wait.
For all the praise we've given them, that's one that I won't give them.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that Giants Live does it.
I just don't think it's a good. It's just not a good rule for like. It's like if you were playing hockey and there was a tie, it's like, well, who scored the last goal? It's like that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like it's not a relevant way to measure who's been playing the best in this game or who's been performing the best in this competition. I just don't like that rule.
Yeah. So this is a good opportunity to talk about tiebreaker ideas.
Okay.
So I don't like the last event tiebreaker. Part of that is because Stones is disproportionately the last event.
Right. Yeah. There's not like a random drawing to what the last event is. It's almost always a stone load.
Yeah. So it's favoring a certain type of athlete, and I don't think that a tiebreaker that systemically favors a certain type of athlete is a good tiebreaker, because it's not fair. A tiebreaker should have every type of athlete have an equal chance. Mm-hmm. So I think if you want to pick one event, because apparently the reason they do that is to make things simple. So they just pick one event to be the tiebreaker event.
And I know you know this, but that's a terrible excuse.
It is because I think that I find that personally insulting.
Yeah.
That they don't think that I can count number of first place finishes. And if that number ends up the same, sorry, you got to count for two different people.
Yeah, two people.
So you got to be able to hold two numbers in your head at the same time.
Strongman fans, it's just asking a lot from us. We just couldn't possibly.
But if that's tied, then you got to count second places.
Yeah, and God forbid if that were to tie too, there's just it's not realistic to expect people to count that high. Like it's just not. Or to count that many times, I should say.
Yeah, it's not even that. I'm the highest. If it's a 4-event competition, the highest you're going to count to is 4 twice.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. I couldn't even begin to imagine the strain on the mind.
So no, I find that insulting. I think if you wanted to keep it fair, at the rules meeting, pick a number out of a hat. That event is the tiebreaker event.
Sure.
Doesn't favor anybody because it's just a randomly chosen event. Nobody knew it ahead of time, so they couldn't, they couldn't really
pour more into that event. Yeah.
It doesn't make it so that event's that one event was all that mattered in your prep, anything like that. So yeah, that's if you want. I still don't think picking one event is a good call. But if you wanted to pick one event, I'd say that's how you make a single event tiebreaker fair. And then what I think, so the issue that people have with countback is, okay, one guy won or had consistently good placings, but in one event he placed 8th.
Right.
Why should he get that when I was just behind him on every single event?
Right.
And my worst placing was 4th. I think that's a valid criticism.
That's valid.
Countback.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. The most fair tiebreaker that you could do for Strongman is reverse countback. Okay. The problem with that is you don't really win the tiebreaker; you just lose the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So what I mean by reverse countback is, if you have 10 athletes in a competition, you take the 2 who are tied, who had the most 10th place finishes.
That's like a negative point in this way. Yeah.
So if one of those 2 athletes has a 10th place finish and the other one doesn't, he loses the tie.
Right.
It's a negative connotation, but I do think that it is a better reflection of consistency.
Sure.
Because that's the idea of countback, is to reward the athlete who is consistent.
Who's the most consistent? Yeah.
So I think it's a better reflection of consistency, but I don't think people really go for it because of that negative connotation of losing the tie.
Which is weird because it's you don't it's not like you count the tie or do the count back in front of a crowd. It's done privately on its own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do agree with what you're saying, but I think that realistically, it's the same when you just say it to the crowd afterwards. This person won on count back. It doesn't matter how we got there, but I do agree that people would be weird about it probably.
Yeah. So I don't know. If anybody likes that idea, maybe we can make it a thing.
Something to consider.
Back to the results. So Sean Turner won on the last event tiebreaker, but they were.
So fuck you, Sean Turner. Basically,
yes.
What we're trying to say. You're an asshole and a loser.
But also, I would like to point out, countback wouldn't even have worked here. They both have 1 first place finish. They both have 2 third place finishes, and they both have 1 second place finish. So there was no countback option here.
Well, then shout out Sean Turner. Then I take it all back. Yeah.
Should have been a random event tiebreaker. Then
yeah, there you go.
it can be the second tiebreaker.
Yeah.
You do reverse countback, then you do normal countback.
We will find a winner no matter what.
Then you do random event tiebreaker, and if they're tied on the event that was randomly picked, then you can pick last event.
And then they just fight after that.
Fight to the death. All right, so into our teens 16 to 18 open division. This division was really exciting. One reason, because obviously an athlete from Iron Age was competing in this one.
Yeah, freshly minted Iron Age athlete is James Wary. He is he's 18 now, but he was 17 long enough to be able to qualify for this competition. He came and did a few sessions with me. Now I'll tell you something about James Wary. He didn't know the events about 4 weeks out of this competition. Not a man of preparation, at least not yet. We're going to work on that. But
strongest man will win.
It just speaks to that you don't gotta get ready if you stay ready, I guess is the idea. But no, he came in and worked with me a few times, and I just sort of did what I could do in a very short period of time to get him more ready for this competition. And I think that paid off for him. I saw him. I'm missing a word here, but I saw him implementing things that we had talked about in training. We had worked on, and I think that it ended up helping him just even that little bit of extra work. And he did pretty well, actually. I thought for being as new and green as he is. They're all new and green, right? But I was very happy with his performance overall. ending up in 9th place.
Yeah, so he finished in 9th. There's 10 athletes total, and like his results, it was 2 8th place finishes, 2 9th place finishes, but and no offense to the athlete who finished in 10th, but like literally from like 9th to the podium, everyone was just kind of neck and neck on everything, and he was just. This was one event where it might have been a little bit light, as far as like the teen divisions go. Like, all but one athlete finished the deadlift ladder, which I think this is the only teen division that was the case.
Mm-hmm. Some of those top guys ran through that deadlift. Like they smoked that thing.
Yeah. So it was just it honestly, I don't think it was like him finishing in 9th. I don't think it was a strength thing. Mm-hmm. I think it was a just like planning for faster strategies.
Yeah, I agree. Thing. Yep, he's not experienced as a lot of these guys wouldn't be, but you could see that some of those top level guys had worked more on moving fast between implements, setting up quickly, pulling quickly, and just being ready for this competition. They were very prepared for what they had to do in this competition, where I could tell before I started working with James, he was just doing very general strength building stuff and not thinking about preparing for this specific, the specific parameters of these events. Mm-hmm. So I think that would, if he would have a little bit longer to prepare that and a little more understanding of how some of the events worked, he probably could have done a little bit better. But I mean, that's what the teen division's for, right? Is just learning those things.
Yeah. So yes, that was kind of the story of that. Like I said, from 4th basically down to 9th. But the podium here, these guys were just awesome to watch. They were so much fun on like almost virtually every event. So you had Jesse Ilvonen from Finland. He was the only one to get all 5 logs in the log press, and he flew through that. So these are 16 to 18-year-olds, and that last log was 280 pounds.
Yeah, that's insane.
And he finished the whole run in under 33 seconds.
That's wild. That's a guy that you're like, we talked about seeing the next crop of guys in these, and that's for sure somebody you want to keep your eye on.
Yeah, I absolutely think that he's going to go through. I don't even think he was 18. I think he was 17.
Wow.
So he has another year at this age group if he wants it. I think he can jump into the juniors.
I think he should. I think that would be a good way to test yourself, and you're at a level where wins and losses aren't going to be held against you in any meaningful way right now. So just try to test yourself that way, the same way that second place here did Bubba Pritchett. He jumped ahead in age class, just to test himself, because he knew that he was going to smoke his actual age division.
Yeah. Bubba had a great showing. He 3 top 3 finishes, kind of right behind Jesse on all of those. His worst finish was a 5th on the frame, but I mean, even then, he finished in 19.2 seconds and got 5th. And Alexander Skaruka, our last podium athlete, got 1st in 15.22. There was exactly a 4-second difference between them.
From Canada too, Alexander too. You mentioned that, but
from Alberta.
Yeah. Bubba Pritchett, for anybody who's not aware, is the son of retired pro strongman Jerry Pritchett, he's really one of the unsung greats in the sports. I think. I don't think that he gets people see him now a lot doing this commentary and stuff, which he does a very good job of. Actually, I think that Bubba's a really good commentator. Excuse me, not Bubba, Jerry. Maybe Bubba someday too. But Jerry does a great job. But I think that he gets kind of left out of a lot of the conversation when we talk about, say, like great deadlifters. He's one of the best deadlifters to ever live. He just also happened to exist during a period where there was a lot of other really amazing deadlifters. But
Benny Magnuson and Eddie Hall.
JF. He was just there in a period where there was just monster deadlifters. But it's not a surprise that Bubba comes up and starts doing as well as he does when he just has the pedigree that he has. Do you think that Bubba is his real name?
It is.
It is his real name?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I was never sure if that was just like a really hard nickname that stuck, or if it was his
that's
born
his
name.
Actual name.
That's awesome.
So the last athlete here, Alex Skaruka from Alberta, 2 first-place finishes.
Yeah.
Finished first on the frame carry. He absolutely blitzed the frame carry under 15.22 seconds. So in the low 15s, only one other athlete was under 17.5 seconds.
Wow.
And then the deadlift ladder, which there was a bit of
9 seconds out. I'm seeing there
9.67 seconds. So 10th or second was Jesse Ilvonen with 10.94 seconds. So just over a second
barely,
difference.
Yeah.
But there was also some something weird going on with that. Like, so I was watching it, and all of the athletes were starting back from the bar, like not with their shins right up to it.
Right.
And then whistle went, and they took a step to get up to the bar, set up and pull. Alex came out and he had his hands off the bar, but he started right up against it, feet already in his deadlift position. And he had his hands like, right ready to grab it. Like he was leaned over. They told him to stand up straight before they went. But I thought it was odd. Obviously I wasn't there. I don't know what the athletes were told, but to me, I found it strange that so many athletes had come out and none of them had thought of putting their feet in their deadlift position.
It's almost certainly the rule was that you had to start. Like, that's the way it's always been for OSG, is that you start behind a line and then approach the bar. I don't remember if we touched on this last time, but I really hope that it's not a case of like, it's the teens, who gives a fuck. You know what I mean? Because this has to be treated the same. Like, we saw kind of a shitty call on the log for somebody, I forget, like a pretty iffy down command. I don't remember who, but I remember
the teens.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just we want to keep in mind that yes, these are teens, whatever, but like they're teens at a world level competition. There still has to be a standard held here for the refereeing and for like the rules and the setup and all that stuff. If you go to like the World Juniors, they're all teens too, and you don't like see them being treated like, oh well, we'll give him that goal because he's just a fucking kid. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like it has to be treated the same way. And that's very confusing to me too. I don't understand what, like, the rule was almost certainly that you had to start backed up. So I don't know what the deal with that is.
After Alex did it, then more of the teens who came out started set up already.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't notice that. That's strange. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely.
Maybe he figured something. Maybe the rules were different for the teens.
Yeah, it was definitely a transition period.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what happened there. It seemed strange to me, but I don't know what they were told, so I can't say one way or the other.
I'd love to get my hands on the OSG like rules, like the official rule book, and take a look at some of that
Jeffers
stuff.
will probably send it to you. He'll listen to this.
Jeffers, send me that, please. I'm sure you have it.
But I guess I don't know. There were ladders both times, so yeah, it should be the same.
Yeah, I would think so.
But yeah, it's still an insanely fast run. Finishing at 5:10, didn't use straps the whole time.
About as fast as you could run and touch each bar. It would be about 9 seconds for me, I think. So that's very impressive to finish a deadlift in that time. Finish 4 deadlifts in that time.
But yeah, and then finished. Lost. He actually tied with Bubba Pritchett. Lost on the last event tiebreaker, which was the sandbag. But yeah, that's when 2 first place finishes, and you lose a tiebreaker for second place.
I can't abide by that. No.
That one doesn't strike me right. But then, like I said, somebody else could argue he had a 7th place finish.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation with that one. But it is something that I think is. We all agree that the single event one sucks, though, so we can at least all agree on that. Okay. Good on the teens?
So, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
On to the junior men. So this is 19 to 20 years old, U105.
I'm going to rely heavily on you on this one because I didn't pay a lot of attention to this one.
I mean, this is probably out of the youth categories the one that I remember the least about. I do remember Alfie Sharplin. I don't think this is his first time at OSG either. And I think there was like a UK Strongest Teen title that he has as well.
I can see that.
And he is jacked. He's lean and he's jacked.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like a teen.
So somebody to watch for that 105 or even that 80 or 90 division maybe then?
Yeah, and he really ran away with this. Yeah, he dropped 1 point the entire competition.
That's awesome.
4 events, finished with 4 events, 8 competitors, so 8 points up for grabs on every event, and he finished with 31 points out of a possible 32.
Awesome.
So domination there. In second place was Sebastian Dietrich. Him and Landon Brown in third, they had a battle back and forth. Only a 1 point difference between them. But I don't. There wasn't any like particular lifts here that stood out to me. Those two were like kind of right back and forth with each other. Let's see. Yeah, so there was a second and a third and a fourth, third and first. Like they were just right neck and neck the whole time.
Just trading.
Yeah, I don't think I have too much else on the.
So long, junior men, 19 to 20.
Now the junior junior men in the open.
Oh yeah, the 105 junior men 19 to 20.
Yeah. Now this was a smaller category than the U105s, which maybe plays that opportunities for weight class athletes. Lots of up and coming U105 guys.
True.
But the person who won in the junior men 19 to 20, this Broden Westover. Did you watch? Like in particular, I mean, he was phenomenal the whole time. He only dropped 2 points the entire competition. But did you watch his deadlift ladder?
I would have seen it, but it's not sticking out to me for some reason.
He came out. He knew exactly what he had to do. He was up against the only other person. Oh no, there was 2 of them that finished the deadlift ladder, but one. Mathis Ricciuti. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. He's Italian.
Mattias? Mattis?
I think it's Mattis.
Ricciuti? I don't know. Whatever. French guy.
That was way more wrong than I said it.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
But yeah. So Mathis and Xavier, they both finished the deadlift ladder. I believe it was Mathis came out first and finished it, and then Broden was head to head against Xavier. So he kind of knew he knew he could finish. He knew he could finish in a faster time than Mathis. So he also just knew that he had to stay ahead of Xavier. Which, by the way, why am I blanking on his name? Colin Bryce. I was so stuck on Bryce Johnson. Colin Bryce called Xavier with his name spelled the normal way that Xavier is spelled. Yes. Xavier.
So that we'll get to it later, but that's one of 2 bizarre pronunciations of pretty normal names. Xavier, I can give a little more on that one, but we've all met someone named Xavier, I think. Like,
I mean, even if you just watched X-Men. Like.
Yeah, good point. Charles Xavier, yeah.
So Broden was up against Xavier. And just like, so very casual between the bars, but there's just the speed that he lifted the bars. The last one, now it was a monster bar or mammoth bar, whichever elephant bar knockoff they had there. I think it was actually Kratos. Cerberus was sponsor.
Yeah, Kratos bar. Yeah.
It was a Kratos bar, but with 600 pounds, and the way that it flew up, I said watching it by myself, I said that kid's an 800-pound deadlifter.
Yeah. And sure enough.
Yeah, sure enough. So I found it actually just got recommended on my Instagram. A video of him deadlifting 400 kilos from the floor, and then later I started following him. And
maybe even more impressively, this next one.
And then he posted an 800-pound beltless, like 3-inch deficit deadlift.
Disgusting. Absolutely insane.
He is a future deadlift world record contender.
It's got to be. With that, like, unless, barring any bizarre bumps on the road, that is absolutely insane.
Yeah. I can't wait for him to jump into the opens. He's like, I think he's basically going to be like Jack Osborne, but deadlift.
I like the idea that too, of like pushing a really hard deadlift variation like that, like a beltless. I actually think it was a 4-inch deficit, the one that he did, and it's like, that's, if you can get good at that kind of pull, you're going to be good at any fucking deadlift.
That's I really like doing that when I'm injured, because my tendons hate me that much.
Yeah.
Is like figure out a variation that like you're just like weakened, like you just can't load it as much.
Yeah.
So there was a time where I was doing I don't think it was beltless, but deficit stiff leg axle bar deadlifts.
Oh yeah, I remember you doing those. Yeah.
I got up to like I think it was like 500 for 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like pushing that, because you're just like, how fatigued are you really going to make yourself deadlifting like 75%?
Right.
So, so that was the junior men. So next, we're into the adaptive. So it's standing 1. So one thing that I want to point out, Cody George here, he ended up in 3rd, but Cody George is an above-the-knee amputee, which typically, for strongman, above-the-knee amputees, I learned this from his own Instagram post, above-the-knee amputees are typically, they typically do the seated
that makes
division.
Sense.
He said he chose to take on an extra challenge by doing a standing division.
Right.
So absolute props to Cody George.
You can see how hard things like cleaning the log was, where you just can't generate that same power off of one working leg as you obviously can with two, and it was like very gutsy stuff to see someone trying to do that. That was really awesome to see.
Yeah, and then our top two were Evan Schwerbrock and Stephen Moore, and they were like, it was a 2-point gap. So Evan finished with 11 points, Stephen with 9. So they were pretty competitive back and forth. And I mean, I feel like it's hard to ensure fairness with adaptive athletes. Like, Stephen was a below the knee amputee. Evan's blind.
Yeah, it's just a completely different world for both those guys.
Yeah. So both extremely impressive in their own ways, but the one, actually two event runs that really, really stood out to me were Evan on the deadlift ladder and on the sandbag steeplechase. Mm-hmm. The deadlift ladder, he comes out with, I presume his girlfriend, partner, wife, and she guides him up to the first bar. Okay, he has his cane. He touches the bar. Okay, that's where it is. Sets up to it. Feels for center knurling. Okay, got it. Steps over. Takes very measured paces up to the next bar. Not like small paces, but just measured.
Knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah. Up to the next bar. Kicks it with his or feels it with his cane. Kicks it. So he knows where it is, bends down, feels center knurling, and then I expected him to do that for each bar. But no, he walks back to the first bar, folds up his cane, sets it off to the side, sets up ready to go. Whistle goes, and he goes down, he hook grips all the bars, but just feels center knurling, out to the sides, boom.
Damn.
Steps over, does the exact same steps that he did when measuring out, bends down, feels center knurling, out to the side, boom. Steps over, exact same steps, because he just knows that each bar is set the same distance away.
Sure, yeah.
So he just repeats the same steps, center knurling, sets his hands, boom. Every single bar. There's the exact same super, super practiced technique to it.
Really interesting insight to how a blind athlete would, I mean, in any sport probably, would manage a lot of how they would do it is just like drilling distances and understanding like where things are at any given time. Like that's and I say athletes, but probably just in general life too, like the way that they just would move around in general.
Yeah. And on the topic of drilling distances, which is why I said two events, the sandbag steeplechase that Evan did, I kind of expected, like, I was thinking you're not really going to be able to measure your steps carrying the sandbag, because you're going to have to like purposefully kind of slow yourself down or do something, it's going to be really hard to mimic the types of steps you'll take when carrying I think they had a 250 pound was the heavier, a 225 and a 250 pound sandbag. So I was curious how he was going to do that. And I kind of thought, what he'll probably do is get the sandbag really high on his chest and then just go forward until he runs into the barrier. Cause you run into the barrier at a relatively slow speed. It's not going to like hurt you all that much.
No, surprise you probably, but that'd be pretty much it.
But he's also kind of expecting it.
Yeah.
So. But no, he measured out his steps, and he knew exactly where that barrier was going to be. So that was also really, really impressive.
Just a cool thing that you wouldn't get to see in most competitions or even in most sports is like how somebody who has like a disability, like blindness or whatever it might be, it's like, how would they do this exact same thing that I have to do? Like how would like someone who like these things that I would take for granted, like being able to see the implements in front of me, like how could somebody else do this? And only in strongman is that same thing contested by somebody who can't do it. You know what I mean? Like it's just really interesting. That's why it's the OSG is so interesting that way. Where I think maybe too many people skip out on Thursday because they want to see like the weight class stuff or the open stuff or whatever. But there's really, really cool, interesting stuff happening on that first day of OSG.
Yeah, the Broden's deadlift run and Evans, I was more impressed by his deadlift run than the sandbag, partly because it caught me off guard.
Sure.
Those were two of like just the single athlete like runs of the entire competition for me.
Yeah.
So moving into the standing two, I think this was James Spurgeon by himself. So unfortunately no competition for James Spurgeon, but he's always fun to watch. He's like, I think the 3 times world's strongest disabled man. I imagine they probably have that in multiple categories as well because they
probably
have different events. But James is another guy. It's really awesome to see how he adapts to different events. That wasn't meant to be a pun on like adaptive.
Nope.
Strongman. But that's literally what they're doing.
But it worked as one though, so there you
go. If anyone doesn't know, James Spurgeon is one arm power on Instagram because he only has use of his left arm, and he does some insane lifts. If
your algorithm skews towards like strength sports stuff, you've probably seen him suggested on your feed before at some point. Yeah, he does some pretty amazing stuff.
He has a one arm log.
Yeah,
that I love seeing him lift. And the way that he does dumbbell too is just really, really impressive.
Even stone lifting, everything it just has to be done in this like really difficult fashion with one arm.
Rolling stones up his lap. Yeah. He has a strap for some stones.
Yeah,
but he's done it before where he rolls it up his lap, which it was actually the technique that Sandra Bradley used when she on the stone run because her back was injured. She rolled it up one leg, moved it over to the other leg, set the first leg so that she was in a squat and could lap it centered, and then extend. He has loaded lots of stones, very heavy stones with that exact technique.
Yeah, pioneer.
So next we're into the men's seated 1. So in this one we had Scott Endersby and Joshua Smith, who tied, and that's a tough one to say that warrants a win.
Oh wow, a fraction of a second.
So okay, you can't see our screen, so they
just trust us. It's crazy though.
Yeah, Scott Endersby out of the gates with 2 second place finishes out of 2 athletes. Rough start, but goes on to win the next 2 events with Joshua Smith inverting those. So he won the first 2 events, came second in the last 2, and in the last event tiebreaker, it was 11.39 seconds to 11.53. 0.14 seconds, and that decided the competition.
And not laser timed either. Just stopwatch.
Just stopwatch.
Yeah.
Which I know, I haven't heard this in a long time, but I remember discussion when I first started watching Strongman in like the mid 2010s. I had heard about competitions where if it was within 0.15 seconds, they just considered it a tie.
That's the rule that we run with for our local competitions here too.
Okay. Yeah. Unless they're in the same heat, right?
Yeah.
Because it's in the same heat. Well, I mean, we might have a good angle, but we would be able to watch the stream back.
Yeah.
So like there are competitions where that last event would have been considered a tie.
Yeah. And that would have been, imagine there's an all the way tie all the way through. That's wild.
Yeah. Well, if that last event was a tie, then they would have both got 1.5 points, which means that Joshua Smith would have won.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you're right.
He would be half a point higher.
Right.
And Scott Endersby would be half a point lower. So it would be 5.5 points to 6.5. Interesting. But instead of that, a 0.14 second difference gives the entire competition to one athlete.
I hope you guys are picking up what we're laying down here with this fucking final event rule. It's got to go.
All right, on to the seeded 2. This is a big category.
Pretty stacked. Yeah, pretty populated category here.
So the we should mention this last podcast. We should have looked into what categorizes seeded 1 versus seeded 2.
Oh yeah, shit, we didn't do that.
I can't remember because I was thinking that it was if you didn't have use of your arms, but actually looking at all these guys, I don't see a single upper limb amputee among them. And also because Carrie Thibault, she has use of her upper limbs. So and she was seated 2+. So that's also different.
We got some homework to do on these adaptive categories, I guess.
Actually, wait. Can we see the pictures from the seated 1? No, they don't have any amputations either. Okay,
I'm gonna get a hold of Magnus and get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. You're good, pal Magnus.
Absolutely.
You're at the Magnus for Magnuson Classic once. I'm sure you got him on speed dial.
Hey, we bumped into. They called when we were at the Arnold's. They spotted us. and like stopped us when we were walking through the thing. So
probably because Monica saw Jian.
That's exactly what happened. Actually, that's exactly what happened. Was that Monica recognized Jian and they stopped, and me and Magnus were kind of standing behind both of them. We shook hands and said hello to each other.
All right, so winning the seeded 2 was Patrick Worth, finishing with 23. What is the possible 24 points?
Damn.
So yeah, only dropped 1.
Shout out Patrick Worth.
And then, they had a neat hold for time here. It was a kettlebell hold with like a loadable kettlebell.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, which I thought was cool because like that was clearly an implement that was only brought there for the adaptive athletes.
Yeah, it is neat to see that.
And then Joshua Rucker filled out the podium, finishing with 15 points. And I don't remember if I mentioned it on the female podcast, but like the handles, like if you want to find some great Instagram names, all the adaptive athletes from OSG,
yeah,
and I remember this because I'm pretty sure it was Roland, which is already a great name,
yeah,
great first name for an adaptive athlete in a seated division, Roland Abbott. I think it was him. His Instagram name was Wheelie Fit.
Yeah, yeah. There was some good ones that I saw in there too. It's good to see like a good sense of humor from people for adaptive athletes.
All right. Oh, I got to switch to the other page.
All right, so we're on to day 2 of the competition now, which was the men's weight class / age division / open stuff, and probably the stuff that more some of the people are more familiar with. So we'll start off with the men's U80 kilogram division. It was cool to see in these classes that there was a really strong a lot of countries represented in these ones. There was when you see these smaller divisions, we saw like Taiwan represented, and we saw a lot of places that you just don't see the open guys coming from typically. So it was really exciting to see such representation here.
Yeah, and we're seeing particularly in the finals, because not that it's a bad thing, but anytime that anytime that a competition is hosted locally, it's always hosted locally somewhere. When you'll always see that there's going to be more local athletes sign up because it's just easier to get there.
For sure, yeah. It's just that it's always going to be that way.
When SEC Nationals is in Alberta, there's going to be more Alberta athletes than when SEC Nationals is in Thunder Bay.
Yes.
So, but in the finals was where it got, I think, really interesting for the representation, because then a lot of the athletes who are just going because it's close, when's the next time I'm going to get a chance to go to OSG? Mm-hmm. They get weeded out a little bit.
They get called, yeah.
So in the final, we only had 3 American athletes. There was, but the diversity
look at all those
is crazy.
Flags, that's awesome.
It's 2 Scottish athletes, a Dutch athlete, a Welsh athlete, a Swiss athlete, an Australian athlete, and a Canadian athlete.
Nicholas Kristofi.
Yeah.
Yes.
From Quebec.
Yeah, it was awesome to see him. It was great to see him make the finals. He's a really good competitor. He's a representative for Strongman Corp Canada for Quebec, and he's just like a very steady hand out there. Like, it's nice. He's an all-around really good guy. I've chatted with him a few times at nationals and stuff, and it was good to see him do so well.
I think he's been around for a while, right?
I think so. Yeah.
He got his pro card in the CASA days, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yep. He's awesome. He's really fun to watch compete.
So so taking first place, this was a hotly contested podium, but Mason Cup ended up taking the win, and I don't think that there was. I was going to say I don't think there was a point that he was leading. I think early on, like 2 events in, he was leading, but from what I remember, it was in the finals. It was Finlay Mercer and Chris Harper. 1 and 2, and Mason Cup kind of just right on their heels, and then it all flipped on the stones, despite the stones also being super tight between the 3 of them. Mason Cup finished in 2nd on the stones. Chris Harper finished 3rd, but there was only there's only 1 point between them in the end, so that 1 point there on the stones was enough that to break that tie. And then Finlay Mercer, he was in 1st going into the stones, and then he had a 7th place finish.
Yeah, he had a rough run on that one.
Yeah, and Finley Mercer had a great start to the competition. He won the log, and then actually, one part that surprised me on the commentary, because both Nicola, and I get that it's her countryman here, but Nicola and Gabe were both so stoic even when strange calls were made. But Finley had one of those log reps where the other, like, they're in an entirely locked out position, but they're already putting the log down. Their whole body's just tilted forward, and you know it. And you know that, okay, you can't hold that position, so you're not in control of the log.
Right.
But they're just, like, it's the athlete just trying to rush.
Right.
Right? And they were both shocked that he didn't get a down command. And I was like, that was a weird one that, like, for two commentators who were usually, like, very reserved.
Yeah.
Being
that
so
one
surprised.
of all the ones that we saw.
Yeah.
Just to stand on that was strange.
But yeah, and then he also, then he had a pretty favorable frame where he did not try to pick that up. you cannot convince me that there was an effort made. He definitely just slid that across the line, and then he won the frame. He just walked off.
Yeah, strange.
Sorry, not won, but he finished it. He actually got eighth.
Yeah, it's a lot of strange calls coming up on that frame to discuss here.
Yeah. So, yeah, but then the rest of his competition was really solid. And one thing that I thought was cool when I was looking at this particular category for looking at day 1 and 2, the points just bouncing around all over the place. You had a second place finish who ended up 15th at the end of the heats.
Wow.
Second place finish on the log ends up 15th. Third place finish on the log ends up 16th. Like, the points, another third place finish ends up 19th. Like, the points were just people wild. Way out of the finals, finishing, podiums or at least top 10s on various events.
Yeah. It really speaks to how having a competition with so many competitors that it can really shake up these points. Like, you can be
best in the world in one event.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it just does not matter. You need to be at least good at everything. And if you're going to go do OSG and expect to make those finals, you really can't have like, if you have 2 week events, forget it. You're done. You have to have, if you have one middling event, then you should be okay. If your other events are really, really good.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be good at everything to make it an OSG.
Yeah. So I just thought that was crazy with the U80 men specifically. I'm sure that was also the case for some of the U90s, the U105, any of those categories that have, like, tons and tons of athletes in it. But yeah. So moving on. Oh, and also, I also wanted to point this out. Not as a negative. I just point out how quickly the weight class categories are progressing on a competitive level. Like, Richard Panganaban is a former U80 World's Strongest Man, only from, I think, 3 years ago, and he finished 6th in the final.
Yeah.
So, and he's also a ton of fun to watch. He's like one of the shorter athletes, even for the U80s. His stone loading is terrifying.
Yeah. A Filipino guy too, Jian. Jian was pointing out that of all the names they got right, the very, very difficult ones, they kept saying his last name wrong, and I don't remember what it was they were getting wrong. Yeah, but she pointed it out to me, and she said she says it with a little Tagalog accent, so it's hard for me to pick it up. But
okay. Yeah. Usually the Filipino names aren't that hard. Like, at least to get right enough that nobody would call you on it. Like, they're pretty phonetic.
I think she's being pretty particular about it. But
okay. Maybe she'd.
I think it was the wrong inflection or something like that. Maybe, but
that's. Okay, this is entirely off the topic of strongman.
Fuck you,
but
Jian.
Like, no, like with any language when you're learning it, and like, if French people, if you speak French and you have, like, an English accent, they're like, oh, that's not how you say it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but you're correcting me with a French accent speaking English, so I can just say the same to you.
Yeah, you fucker.
Like other native speakers of other languages are so intolerant to accents, and, like, English people just never complain.
It reminds me, there was like a wrestler from Winnipeg that went to Japan to wrestle, and his name was John Cutler, and they could not get that. Like, they could not get Cutler. Like, just like the T's and the L's and the R's were not working.
Because Japanese never has 2 consonants in a row.
Well, there you go. So they would go like they couldn't do it, so they just changed his name to Carter while he was there, and that became his wrestling name in Japan. So, shout out John Carter. Okay, so let's go on to the men's masters now.
Yeah, so it's the Masters 50 plus. We're again just going in the order of the drop down list on the OSG website.
Yeah.
So this category super fun. To be honest, only looked at the top two.
Yeah.
The whole time.
But I mean, realistically, like.
So we had Zadrunas Savickas in first place and Mark Felix in second. Two massive legends.
Yeah.
Of strongman. Mark Felix, the oldest competitor in the category.
Yeah.
He only started doing the Masters 50 plus like maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah,
he always did the 40 plus before that.
Yeah. And it really speaks to both these guys, just like their drive to compete, because you don't get a lot of money for winning. Like I'm sure that didn't cover the flight from Lithuania, the money that you get from OSG, or at the very least all the accommodations and everything. There's no way. But these guys just love to compete in strongman.
Because he has a trophy house to fill up.
He's got to fill up this. Yeah, exactly. He's got to get a bigger what is it? Bigger room or bigger house or whatever.
I'm sure it's moved beyond a room at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure
I upgraded it.
The guest
cabin.
house. Yeah. These guys are just like they're just the truest form of, like, the purest form of just loving to compete in strongman and loving this sport. And even it's just funny to see, like, Zadrunas, like, he won, and someone posted a picture of him afterwards, just like sitting on the bench with his trophy on his stomach, just like on his phone, like dicking around. Like, he doesn't do this for like the glory of being the Masters 50 plus world champion. He just does it because he loves to do it. Like, he just loves the act of competing, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, they both had awesome performances. I mean, Mark Felix, his pressing in the Masters division is really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Big Z good.
No.
Big Z won both the pressing events. But I don't know if you'd agree with this. Mark Felix pressing has just stayed the same. Since like his first World's Strongest Man appearance in his mid-30s, he just hasn't lost anything.
No. And even his deadlift too, like, he's always kind of kept the same sort of crappy technique, but it just like works for him. Like, he just has he's just always had like a good deadlift. And now that he's not at like a true world level, his good deadlift is a very good deadlift. Like, because he's
I mean, there was a time at a true world level where he was the best deadlifter. He didn't lose a deadlift event at World's Strongest Man for like 9 years.
He always just looked so janky with his deadlifting, and then he would just keep getting more reps with that like this weird technique that he had. But he was, he's.
And at one time he was the deadlift world record holder for strongman.
Really?
With him and Brian Shaw traded the deadlift record at the same competition back and forth, back when it was like a touch over 900 pounds.
Wow, then I take that back. Then I'm very, very sorry, Mark Felix. I didn't know, I wasn't familiar with your game. But yeah, it was Big Z's competition. Another one of the rough calls from the circus dumbbell for Big Z on this one too. But I mean, at this point, it didn't really affect the competition very much. So
no, like at most, like, he would have dropped 2 points. It looks like two other guys finished the run. And I'll also say, like, I think he just put it down because he got the down command. I think he would have finished it anyway.
I think he would have pressed it out
like,
too. Yeah,
it was a bad call.
Yeah,
but can I say that it changed the standings? No, not at all.
No,
not by any rationale.
No, I don't. I completely agree with that. We want to see the right calls, but at the same time, it's nice knowing we can all rest easy knowing that it didn't really affect too much.
Yeah. And then also want to shout out the third place finisher, George Pearson. There was quite actually a battle just behind those the top two. And I guess George Pearson, he was 7 points ahead of fourth, but then fourth through to eighth was only a 6 point gap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
very tight.
There's still a lot of points being handed around, all below Mark Felix and Big Z. In the Masters 40 plus lightweights. This was one of the most dominant performances, I think, of the entire weekend.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I gotta be honest, I wasn't watching this one super carefully, but I did see this guy.
So this was also a category where there was a tie for 10th coming out of the heats. Mm-hmm. So they had an extra athlete.
An extra guy, yeah. They had 11 athletes in the finals.
Yeah, so that means that it was a total of 66 points up for grabs, and Paul Mwanza only dropped 3.5.
Amazing.
Across all 6 events.
What's he? Is that Ghana that he was representing there?
That is
Zambia. Yeah.
So he finished with 62.5 points. Actually, where was the tie? How did he end up with a tie? every event was timed, wasn't it? Oh no, the log
not
wasn't
the log.
timed.
No, yeah.
Right. Yeah, because it was reps of multiple different. I was thinking of like the teens. The teens was the
Right,
log ladder,
right,
so I was
right,
thinking it was timed. But yeah, first on log, first on frame carry, second on deadlift ladder, first on sandbag, first on dumbbell, third on stones.
Yeah, huge performance.
Just a monster. And actually, where I know he was in the same category last year, and I want to see where he plays because I don't think he was nearly that dominant.
I don't remember his name, so I don't think that he was running as wild as he was this year.
I don't know if you have something to talk about while I try to find him.
Make sure you guys get signed up for Iron Claw 2 on January. I want to say it's 23rd of January, but I will check that. Poster's in front of me there. I can't really see it. We got World's Strongest Man competitor, Strongest Man on Earth competitor, Rogue Invitational, Giants Live. Currently, Canada's Strongest Man, Tristan Hoth, will be coming to referee it for us. Excuse me. I'm so excited it makes me choke. Make sure you guys get signed up. The website, the registration is on ironagestrength.ca, or you can go to @strongmanitoba, and it's in the little link tree there. You'll see the registration for it, and that's where all of our stuff will be for all of our upcoming competitions.
Oh yeah, so I found Paul Mwanza. He did actually win last year, but it was a tight battle. 4.5 points separating him and Kip Leitner, which actually Kip was like Masters lightweight, but I would guess that Kip was probably like a U90, like walking around U90. So giving up a lot of body weight to Paul last year, whereas like
he's jacked too. That Paul guy, he was like a big muscular guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say this year I have a hard time believing that anybody not really like at the same size as him could have kept up. Mm-hmm. It was a really impressive performance. And then in second we had Damon Curtis, and in third was John Doyle. So not really like much battles going on here. Damon Curtis finished with 49 points, so just over 13 points back from Paul, and then John Doyle was 41. So he had to stave off a bit of a hunt for that podium spot because fourth place was 39.5. But actually, speaking of that, he pulled himself into that podium with a big performance on the stones. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
second place on the stones.
There was something to play for there because he finished with second on the stones, and then Matt Powell finishing in fourth overall had an 8th place finish on the stones, and then only a 1.5 point gap between them in the overall. So yeah, John Doyle just sneaking onto that podium right at the end. Mm-hmm. Okay, the men's U90. This was the just a similar to the men's 50 plus. It was just a head-to-head between Victor Lingman and Filip Zajíček.
Who's a exciting young guy to watch right now is that Filip Zajíček guy.
Yeah,
his progression is wild.
If any of you haven't been following Filip's start in Strongman, it is insane to watch. He is 21 this year, 21 years old. I think it's 21 because he could have competed in the junior category last year, and he decided, nope, I'm beyond that level. I'm going to challenge myself. He jumped into the open age category U90s up against athletes like, I don't know if Victor Lingman was there last year, but up against athletes like of John Hack, who was making his
that's right, yeah,
who was competing in U90, the world's strongest man, Dan Benson, just like these monsters of the U90 division, and he won the whole thing.
Yeah.
So his first open age category OSG appearance. I don't think he appeared in the teens the year before.
No, I don't think so.
And then since then, he just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
He loaded a 200 kilogram stone at U90 and
insane.
21 years old.
He's you said he's so young that he's U90 just kind of like by default right now. Like that's just what he's developed into is U90.
Yeah, he doesn't cut.
No, yeah, he could very easily become a 105 competitor in the next 3 or 4 years by just doing what he's been doing and just growing up. Aging into it basically.
He's at like a 375 log.
Crazy.
Or no, I think it was 175 kilos, which would be 385.
Nuts.
But yeah, so absolute monster. And yeah, it was him and Victor Lingman, and really the only decisive event was the frame. The stones also a little bit, But yeah, it was mostly the frame because Victor finished third and Philip finished sixth, and there was 0.4 seconds between them.
Damn, that's wild.
And then it was Philip playing catch up from there. At that point, he had a 4-point deficit, and then it was just he just couldn't quite make up that ground because it was just those two kind of out in front of everybody, the rest of the competition. So Victor ended up winning it, finishing in first place, so dethroning Philip. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fun battles in their future. Obviously, that means Philip took second, and Tyler Davis finished in third. And he was only 2 points behind Philip, so I guess I shouldn't write him out of this completely. But I don't think there was ever a point that Victor or Philip weren't 1 and 2 in the entire competition. So it really did feel like they were just like battling between each other. And I think this is another good example of how rapidly these weight classes are progressing on a competitive level. Because Nikolai Myers, who was World's Strongest Man U90 in 2021, he finished in 10th in this final.
10th place, yeah. Yeah, it really shows we've really barely scratched the surface with some of this weight class stuff. Because if you think about like the grand scheme of strongman kind of starting in what we know is strongman today in like 77, like the weight class stuff is in its infancy still compared to some of the open weight stuff that we've seen. So there's a lot more growth and a lot more progression to happen from some of these guys, especially as the sport grows and becomes more available to them. Anything more on the men's 90 for you?
No, that's all I got.
Cool. So
next we're going into the men's 105.
This was a fun one to watch.
This was fun. Especially like I found that the top 5 were really just points trading amongst each other, like a lot of standout events.
Their sandbag run with those the only 4 guys to finish it, I think, were all in the same heat. No, that's not true. But the only heat that had everyone finish it, it was those top guys. It was Pescari, it was McKeegan. I want to say Doggett was in that one too, maybe.
He would have been.
Yeah, it was just awesome, and it was that was like a real like OSG sort of moment. Was watching those guys all just dominate that event at the same time, and Pescari just happening to dominate it a little more than everybody else.
They actually finished 4th on that particular event, but I mean there was only it was
he did
Doggett.
Doggett really crushed it. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm mixing up with the Stones, I think, but it was speaking of DJ Doggett. What the fuck?
Yeah. So, I don't know. It sounds like people who maybe know him personally, like it wasn't as big of a surprise. But like, and I will say, like I think I've seen him at OSG before.
America's Strongest Man
didn't really stand out.
Yeah.
America's Strongest Man. I don't know. Maybe that was just like a really bad day for him.
Maybe.
But like, I remember he had like being very, frankly, unimpressed by his deadlift.
Yeah, for how he's built.
Yeah, you look at him and you're like, this guy's gonna deadlift a ton. I mean, he's doesn't have like a ton of muscle on him,
right? But just leverage wise,
wise, he should be able to deadlift a ton. And then I remember him coming out and just like didn't have a good performance on deadlift at all. And I was like, man, like that's what you got. Like that should be your event.
He deadlifts like Brian Shaw.
Yeah,
like he's super
wide
like
stance,
wide
snatch, grip.
Yeah, taking away all the good stuff that he has with his long ass arms and stuff.
Yeah, but man, he comes out of the gate with a 0.
Yeah,
on the log.
That's crazy. Like even just reading these results, that's fucking crazy.
But I mean, we're talking about a guy who's built for deadlift. Yeah, you gotta know that he's gonna drop.
He's gonna suck at the log. Yeah.
On a press.
But just like looking at that and seeing a 0 and being on the podium is absolutely insane.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the only person at OSG to do that.
That's an interesting stat. Yeah, probably, right?
And I mean, part of that is because this division had so many people trading points all around.
Yeah.
But then, he comes out, he absolutely smashes the frame, which this frame, I think, like this category, I got to check the weight of the U90s. I think this frame took like a bigger jump than, so it was 650, and then it added 80 pounds to 730 frame. I think that is a comparatively harder frame.
Sure.
No, not saying that the U90 guys had it easy or anything, but I mean, if we look at these podiums six guys finished it, and if we go to the U90s, 8 guys finished it.
Yeah.
So that's it. The frame for the U105s was harder, and the fastest time that we had for the U90s, 20.77 seconds. Fastest time that we had for the U105s was DJ Doggett in 16.6 seconds.
Just sprinting with it. That's wild.
So that was a crazy frame run. It wasn't the fastest of any category. But like I said, I think this category had a particularly challenging frame weight.
Yeah, he was... for me, he just came out of nowhere, and that won't be the case the next time I see him compete. But like I said, having seen him compete in the past, he just wasn't like... He was a standout in that he sort of has like a unique look to him. Like he seems to have sort of like an interesting sort of like demeanor to him, I guess. You know what I mean? Like he just stands out when you watch him compete, but not due to his like performance. Had he really stood out to me yet? And watching him here, I was just like I saw the log and I was like, oh shit, it's gonna be a rough go for DJ Doggett here. And then all of a sudden, the rest of the competition just went great for him. Like, or he did great. But Emmanuel Piscari taking first place, and he's a guy that I've really enjoyed watching, like his like training and his like just his methodologies that he uses, his interesting kind of protocols. And he's just like, if you're a 105 guy, you should be trying to look like Emmanuel Piscari, where he is all muscle, no fluff. Like he is just jacked to the gills. And he puts every bit of that 105 cutoff, like pushes that with muscle every bit that he can. It's awesome.
Yeah, and Dan and I have been taking some of his training ideas and implementing them. So like every session, it really like, because Dan, besides when he was prepping for OSG, he's not doing any competitions really where he's going to get pushed to need to do like an absolute max overhead most of the time. Obviously, if it's a 4 max event, that's different. But the vast majority of cases is like, how do we do this fast, or how do we do this long enough, or So everything now, we're taking ideas from Emmanuel Piscari of like, just because it's a now that I'll put myself on the spot, I can't think of an example, but. Just because you typically train an event a specific way doesn't mean that you have to. Like you can use log for conditioning work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Things like that.
If you're being creative with it, there's all kinds of tools that you can use for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So we've started doing like he does like strength rounds where it's circuit training but heavy, and you just self-regulate your rest times, but you try to get as many rounds of the circuit done in a set period of time.
Yep.
Doing sandbag for time, and not as in trying to get it done quick. Doing it for a set period of time, which has become more common with Iron Age athletes.
Absolutely, yeah. I stole that from him. If you've been doing your death marches, you have Emmanuel Piscari to thank for those, because I stole those from. Yeah. We both stole those from him.
Yeah, he got up to 80 kilo sandbag for 20 minutes.
You guys take note of that and realize that it could have been a lot meaner to you, because that guy is fucking crazy with that shit.
Yeah, so a lot of really interesting training methods from Emmanuel, like mostly things that like you would take from like how to structure a given day, kind of session.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dan and I we've been taking that and then adding that to some of the things that Alec talked about when he came up here and discussed his periodization philosophies, and kind of pairing the two together.
He's athletic too. Like he does a lot of like athletic based training, a lot of agility stuff, a lot of jumping, plyo stuff. Like he's
practices running for the sake of running.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mind you, he's so his legs are so huge, he still doesn't look like he knows how to run.
Yeah,
but he's fast.
He's really like a next generation sort of strongman, where he's super strong, super jacked, but also really athletic and really moves well. And that's when we're talking about 105s. You have to move well. You have to be fast.
Although not 105 any longer.
That's right. Yeah,
he's moving up to the opens.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's only like 5'9" or 5'10".
He's a short guy. Yeah.
So it's kind of that situation of what Erin Murray talked about. Like, she acknowledges that like she's not going to get the prestige and the titles in the open. Mm-hmm. I think there's a little bit more on the men's side of like that you get notoriety for more so. I'm not saying it doesn't exist on the women's, but the prestige of like being the giant slayer.
For sure, yeah.
Even if you're not actually winning,
and he will look that compared to some of those open guys.
Yeah,
yeah. He's he's really fun to watch, and I really hope to see that he does, because like and we've seen guys around his size, around his height, do well in the past. It's not certainly not unheard of. It's not impossible to think that a guy could around his size could do well in the open division. And if
I think he would be a solid like SCL, maybe the odd Giants Live,
maybe
competitor.
Yeah. The Stone platform would be a bitch for him.
Yeah,
but there's
if they do like a power stairs, even though he's shorter, I feel like he can just figure out a power stairs.
Yeah, honestly, I think that he's a guy where he would get that stone up though. Like I think like height or not, I think that he's gonna like press that thing onto there if he has to. Yeah, he's awesome.
I mean, he is a monster presser.
True.
3 reps with a 340-pound log.
Yeah.
Actually, he was the only one to do more than 1 rep with the 340-pound log.
That's wild.
But yeah, so the other stand-up performance for me, not singular stand-up performance, I should say, but like above the Doggett's frame carry, but also Doggett's deadlift.
Right.
And that one stood out because I remembered specifically from America's Strongest Man being very unimpressed by his deadlift. And then here he finishes 4th. Mm-hmm. Now he doesn't finish the run. It was a heavy deadlift run. The last bar was 800 pounds.
Yeah, all the weights were really high for you. Like I was gonna talk about this later with the open, but you needed to be using a suit. Very few guys got away without using a suit and didn't pay the price for it. Like you think like to jump ahead a little bit, like Josh Spurgeon didn't use a suit. He did really well. He's an outlier. Mm-hmm. The guys who did well in this deadlift one were the guys who learned the suit, accepted that it's part of their training now. They practiced with it. They got better with it because they set weights for they set even this, like looking at the 105 here weights, they set this with the presumption that people will be using a suit because it's like they're just fucking heavy. They're super, super heavy. And if you cut yourself if you left that, that option on the table for yourself and didn't use it, I think you paid the price for it on this run specifically.
Yeah. On the topic of suits, didn't make it into the final, but on this deadlift ladder, if we go to the heats day, we have Chris Otero, first place on the deadlift. Did you watch Chris Otero's deadlift run?
I would have seen it, but it's kind of blending in with everything else now.
He essentially deadlifts the same way that DJ Doggett does.
Oh, really?
Not quite that extreme,
okay.
But he's like wide stance, like semi snatch grip, but also like stiff legged. And he had a suit on. Didn't do nothing.
Didn't do anything.
But he had it on. His setup, like he set up as if he didn't have a suit on. It didn't get in his way at all.
That's funny.
But man, was he fast? Like moving between the bars, he was decently quick.
Right.
But like 800 pounds is nothing. He's got to be a 900 deadlift.
That's wild. At 105. That's crazy.
Yeah, with the jankiest technique.
That's funny. Wow.
Did we have any Canadians in this category? Oh, Travis Kennedy finished 16th.
Oh, we didn't.
We should have been looking for Canadians.
We also we missed a pretty important Canadian on the U90 category. Yvonne.
Oh, of course. We gotta
go back. We gotta go back and talk about our boy here. Avon. That was the other bizarre pronunciation of a very normal name that happened. You have Gabe able to pronounce what's that woman's name?
Oh, Amalamaloya Tiafau.
He nails that one, but Evan not there for him. But Evan Urowski from our gym here, Iron Age, really this was the first time in this season at least that he was really tested. He obviously runs through competitions locally.
I mean, he got second at provincials.
That's a great point. Yeah, no, that's right. Take that back. That's right. Yeah, that's right. But he ran through nationals, and just looked to be on a different level there than and no disrespect to the other competitors. He just really seemed to be at a different.
I'm sure all the other competitors would agree.
They would agree. Yeah,
he was compete against them.
Right. He was in a different class. It seemed like, and it was really cool to see him tested this way. And he came back and I talked to him about this, and he really took it like a great athlete would. Like he was so happy and like loved the experience so much and recognized how it's one of those things where if I go to you and I say I got 15th at OSG, you're like, that's pretty good. Like that's a good run at OSG. Mm-hmm. You go to a normal person and you tell them you got 15th at something, they're gonna be like, oh well, next time, right? Yeah. But he just had a really great perspective and a really great just like acceptance of like 15th in the world is good. That's a good place to be, especially like we talked about how competitive these weight classes are getting.
Yeah.
And so shout out to Evan for representing Iron Age so well and doing a great job.
Yeah, and had a top 10 finish on the frame.
Yep. If he gets that log up, he's gonna be a lot more dangerous in this. He's a good overhead presser. He's just not good at log.
Yeah, if they had like an axle,
I would love
at
to
OSG,
see that.
I think Evan probably would have been in the final.
I would have loved to see that. Yeah,
he would have had 2 top 10 finishes, and then his other events, like he didn't drop a ton of points. He had a 17th and a 19th placing, which like we go into the guys in the finals, we're gonna see that Justin Floyd had a 27th place finish.
Wild, yeah.
So like it. There's actually Harry Rogers had 31st place finish.
And finished even higher.
So, yeah. So a 17th and a 19th does not rule you out from finals.
No.
So yeah, I think just a slight change of events, but I mean, log is so ubiquitous with OSG.
Yeah, it's hard to get away from that.
I think last time they didn't have a log. I guess if you count the medley from 2 years ago, not, like 2023.
With the yoke press and stuff, right?
Yeah, but it started with a log.
Still had a log in it. Yeah. I know that
decently heavy. The U82s was 90 kilos.
Right. I know that Evan's next thing that he's thinking about is the Arnold World's Strongest Firefighter.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited to see him go and do that one. I think he'll do really well in that.
Okay. Switching back into the actually, was there any other Canadians in the U90s, or was it just Evan?
I think it was just Evan.
Oh. Holy crap, this is such a long list of athletes.
There was one more there.
Yeah.
Tyson DeLay. DeLay.
And Sam Lachance.
And Sam Lachance. Yeah, we're sorry. No disrespect to those guys. We're looking through this list. There's a million guys in this weight class. That's crazy.
There's 45 athletes in the U90s.
That's wild.
And then you talk about being 15th. You're top third.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're doing pretty darn well at that point.
But yeah, shout out to Sam Lachance and Tyson DeLay. I might have some slight mistakes in retelling this, but I really like Tyson DeLay's story, and I think it should be told to newer athletes getting into the sport, because Tyson came into the sport, I think it was 2019, and he did his first nationals and got last place.
Right. Yeah.
And that was back before SEC was a thing. It was way before the weight classes were nearly as competitive as they are now. And then he just kept going back to nationals, kept working his butt off in the off season, kept competing, kept going back to nationals, and just improving his place slowly, just inch by inch every single year. And then in 2024, he won nationals. He beat Evan to win nationals, and now he has his pro card. And I think we've had the local scene grow by quite a bit, and I know that I think part of it is not that it's like a bad thing, but like Andrew's success last year, a lot of the newer people who have come in are kind of like, oh, Andrew did it, right? And they're expecting to have a lot of success right off the bat, right? And what everyone needs to understand is Andrew's a freak.
But also forgetting that he was a strength athlete for 10 years before he did Strongman.
Yeah.
Right? And he didn't just jump into this and be like, oh, I just started lifting weights a week ago. Let's see how this goes. You know, there's a lot under the surface of his Strongman career that people, I think, tend to forget when they talk about his really fast rise in Strongman.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think a much better, no offense, a better example for most people. Right. No offense to Andrew. Is a guy like Tyson DeLay.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. There's it's never the end. You know, you can get last place. You can say last place when it was generally less competitive, and improve to the point where when it becomes more competitive and more difficult, you're getting first place. That's a hell of a story. And he's also very active with like he's a real advocate for the lightweight strongman in Canada and probably in general, but I know for sure in Canada he does a lot to make sure that.
He's a BC representative.
He's the BC rep for Strongman Corp Canada, and he does a lot of work to. I think he's talked a lot about and been trying to put together like weight class pro shows, and I know that's much easier said than done. It's hard enough to do with open weight guys. So respect to him for doing his best to do that.
So, shout out Tyson DeLay.
There you go.
Great example. Okay. Now we got to check to see if there were any Canadians in the 105s. That we might have missed.
There was a lot less Canadians in general this year than there has been in the past, see a couple flags there.
Yeah, we had Travis Kennedy, who finished in 9th. Oh, actually, no, sorry, that was Liam. I actually missed him the first time. Travis Kennedy finished in 16th. Liam Woodruff in 19th.
Liam of Zone Smelling Salts.
Yes, Mr. Zone himself.
Yes.
And Luke Edwards finishing in 33rd.
I'm not super familiar with Luke. He must be an Ontario guy.
Yeah, I wasn't too familiar with him when he came out either.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess podiumed at Nationals.
That's last year. Yeah, but maybe he's an East Coast guy. Maybe that's why I haven't heard of him, because it would have been New Brunswick.
That could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we already talked about the podiums there. So we'll move on to our men's Masters 40+ open weights. I didn't realize this was such an interesting podium. So that's weird that they didn't do a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I'm just stuck on that too right now.
Okay, so to tell you what we're seeing, as most people probably knew. Oh wait, that's because I'm on day one.
I was gonna say that wasn't the finals. that wasn't the end result. I was like, I'm pretty sure JF got second.
Yeah, now things are making sense.
I was dumbfounded. We just had a weird moment where we were just staring at a screen there, because we were both kind of dumbfounded by, like, did we just like Mandela affect this whole like podium for this fucking competition? We just wanted JF to do good so badly that we made up a finish.
Yeah, we still had it set to the day 1 and 2 because we were looking for the Canadian athletes who didn't make the final.
Right.
Which I believe there is actually one in this category too that we'll give a shout out after we talk about
certainly will
the finals. Absolute masterclass here by Dimitar Savatinov.
Yes.
Coming off a couple year layoff from OSG. I think the last time we saw Dimitar was against Big Z in the 40 pluses, and that was probably 3 or 4 years ago now.
Yeah, it would have been a little while ago.
But Dimitar's definitely been training, seen some huge lifts, some huge deadlifts.
The human embodiment of high blood pressure.
Yes.
Like, he is just struggling. Like, from the moment when we talked about earlier, those like shots kind of when they're in like the hallway tunnel kind of thing of them, he is looking rough there from the moment he starts to the moment he finishes. But fuck if he can't lift, though. He's still strong as hell.
And I mean, he does a fair bit of conditioning type work.
He's like wrestling and stuff, and like doing like these crazy like neck bridge drills and shit. And I just saw you put like a 405 overhead push press in the gym, just like barbell. Like, he's still super strong. He's really good still. And I'll choose to frame it this way. Like a master class in like pure competition. Also, just bending and stretching rules too with the frame. He dropped it past the line or before the line on the first run. He slid it past the line on the second run. If you can get away with those things, that's the crafty veteran at work. Maybe he didn't do it on purpose. Maybe he didn't notice, whatever, right? But
I do think there was a bit of like the frame obscuring the line.
Sure. The first run, absolutely. I think that's a very easy thing to miss, because it did kind of like drop and slide over the line enough. You could probably. I
think that's still on the referee to say, like,
of course it is. Yes,
it slid across.
Of course it is.
And then if they get called on it at the first line, they'll make sure that they'll go a bit further on the second. I also think it's up to the athlete to like you're an athlete. You got pretty good spatial awareness. Mm-hmm. You can tell, like, okay, that line was this far away when it went out of my sight,
right? And
you can get a gauge of like how far away it is.
Dimitar's done this a few times too. Yeah. Like he can probably recognize such things.
Yeah.
But whatever. That's the way it went down.
He was still the strongest on the day.
Absolutely.
Or the weekend.
Yep. Absolutely. But the real story for a lot of us was a lot of our listeners, at least. JF Caron in second place, returning to international competition for the first time since his devastating injury.
No, that Latvian competition, right before the heart attack.
Right before his second devastating health occurrence. That's true. Yes, that's true. The first one that we've seen, the first one that was broadcast widely for most of us to see, was OSG. After he destroyed both of his patellar tendons on a log press, that the log came crashing down on him. It's I don't encourage going out and trying to find it.
Don't watch it.
No, it's a very, very scary thing.
Know that happened.
Yeah, know that it happened. Know that it was truly a terrifying thing to experience. We watched it as it was happening. Like, we watched the competition.
I think we even had it on at the gym here.
We did have it on at the gym here, and it was devastating to watch.
Really put a damper on everyone trying to work out.
Yeah, it did.
I don't feel like doing squats anymore.
Yeah, no, let's just get out of here. It was it was one of those things where you look at that to the vast majority of normal people. That's the end of whatever it is that they do, that caused that to happen. They don't, if you tear both your patella tendons playing hockey, playing football at like a let's say like a regular level, that's the end of your time doing that. You don't come back the way that JF did, but JF's just not a normal person. No. And we've known that before, and we're constantly reminded of that when we watch him train and we watch him lift. That JF is just not one of us. He's not. He's the next step in the evolutionary ladder that we haven't quite reached yet. Where he came out and competed, and you could see like I was getting word from people in the back that his knee was hurting him to the point where he was like maybe going to not compete, which was shocking to me. Because that's just not how JF operates, and sure enough, it's not how he operates.
Well, according to Alec on Luke and Alex's podcast there, JF had a torn meniscus.
Well, there you go. But we all know that JF does not consider that wouldn't be an injury in his book.
No,
that's just a thing that happened. That's not an injury. Like that's same with his torn hamstring at World. That's not an injury. That's just something that happened.
I mean, he had a JF ever the. I mean, I guess this isn't a quote, but ever the. He's great at vocalizing what he like, or putting a story and making it vivid.
Yes, he is.
There's a better way to describe that. It was
but for a guy who is English as a second language, he is very compelling to listen to.
Yeah, he was talking about his comeback. It was OSG. I think it was on their Instagram, but they were kind of also playing it during the competitions where they did little mini interviews with some of the athletes. Bubba Pritchett and JF did one, and he talked about his injury, and he said. He's like, I've been lucky up to that point. I had never had any major injury. Like, the same guy who tore his hamstring at Worlds and then did the stone run with the sole intention of he knew that if he placed good enough on the stone run, he could get in between Max and a few other people and put Max on the podium.
Yep.
So he did the stone run, and he said that on the last stone, as he was extending with it, he could feel his hamstring tearing more.
That's
not an injury.
That's not an injury. That does not count as an injury. That's just a thing that happened. And when you hear that, if that doesn't maybe not literally, but bring a tear to your eye as a strength competitor, is like that is the realest shit in the fucking world. Was that he was at a world level competition. He knew he was hurt. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to do what he wanted to do there. But his fucking countryman was in a position to be able to get on the podium, to do something that very, very few people, never mind getting to Worlds, never mind getting to the finals of Worlds, being on the podium at Worlds. He knew that was something that he could help him do, and he fucking did it. That's JF Caron, baby. That's there's no one like him.
So, third place, Daniel Pledger. Was kind of trailing both JF and Dimitar the whole time. The JF dropped some points here where I think if he was a healthy JF, it would have been a closer competition between him and Dimitar. Because that frame, I can't imagine JF was dropping that frame due to his grip.
There's no way. No, there's no way. He's going to hold on to that all day for sure.
Yeah, so I think, you change that out, JF.
Like he just did a really heavy frame at one of the Quebec shows that he did. It might have been that weight or even heavier, and he smoked it.
Yeah, so, probably like a couple points on the frame, maybe a couple points on the sandbag. Those moving events seem to be being bothered. Like his press for like JF, never the best presser, but seemed to be fine. He 3 reps with 310 pounds. It's a bit low, but I think he walked out and attempted the 340 first, and I think his knee caused him to drop down to the 310. But yeah, I think the type of JF events, the frame. Sandbag isn't necessarily a JF event, but in Masters division. Yeah,
it sure is.
Yeah. So, I think we would have seen a slightly more competitive Masters division with a healthy JF, but it's great to see him on the podium regardless.
Absolutely.
Hopefully he gets his knee healed up and does some more shows next year.
I would love to do that. And we can't move past the Masters division here without talking about the other Canadian who was there. And I don't mean to make it sound like there's just the other Canadian, because he made the finals and did very, very well, finishing in 7th place. Yeah, 7th place. The one and only Dave Nollet. We love Dave. He's he's truly one of the cornerstones of Canadian strongmen. From just he's been doing it for a long time. He's been doing it at a high level. He is just a fantastic guy, and I don't know. It's just it's easy to, or it's hard to overstate just how much positivity and good energy that Dave brings to every time he's at a competition, whether he's emceeing or competing or just helping out. Like he was volunteering at some of the CSMs I've done in the past. He's awesome, and he's great.
And shout out to him for a tied win on the log. On the
tremendous presser. That's the thing, is that he, like, I know he's
tying with Dimitar Savatinov.
Yes,
is no small feat.
He's had quad problems this year, so to be able to get a good strong push press like that, you're the man, Dave.
And then we had one more Canadian in the Masters 40 Plus,
yes.
Josh Cloherty.
Yeah, making his Masters debut, Josh Cloherty.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, as far as I know, this is his first Masters competition that he's done.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So Josh finished 22nd in the Masters 40 Plus division. So, he seemed to do decent across the board. He had a top 10 finish in the log.
Yeah, he did well in the log, yeah.
Yeah, it was the frame and the deadlift kind of dropped him down, but
yeah, he's been having back problems. I know that's and
so that probably could have put a damper on both those events.
Yeah, and I say that it's been a back problem lately, but I know that it's been basically as long as I've known him, he's been dealing off and on with back problems. So but I like the idea of him stepping into this Masters division now, and I'm curious to see how that changes his game, changes his training, changes to dealing with a little bit lighter weights, maybe thinking a little bit higher reps on things, and seeing if maybe that gives him a chance to heal up his back and take a little bit of a break on that kind of stuff.
Hopefully see him at Western Canada's Strongest Master.
I would love to see Josh Cloherty at Western Canada's Strongest Master. Details on that coming up the next few weeks.
Yeah. On to, so make sure we switch this back to final.
Yes.
So
no shock.
So we got our last category here, the Josh Pataka show.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? This was outrageous. The last couple of years, OSG, the men's open division, has been so tightly contested, and it's been so like nail biter finishes, and this one was just running away with it. Josh Pataka from Australia.
Yeah. So I got to go back and find this because Josh finished tied for 6th last year at OSG, and like this year was just domination, and against a fair few of the same competitors.
Yep.
Ryan Bennett, Nick Wortham, James Jeffers, all finished ahead of Josh last year.
Yep.
And all, actually, I guess Nick Wortham wasn't there this year.
No, Nick wasn't there this year. No.
But and then this year didn't even need to do the last event.
Won the entire competition on event 5.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Like just from the very jump, like 2 reps with the 400-pound or the 400-pound log.
Only one to get 2 reps. That seemed to be a tricky log because there's a lot of guys who should have got multiple reps.
I've heard from a lot of the guys who were there that it's you think you understand how those like ends on those barbells logs are going to feel. Like you think it's just like, okay, I understand, but when you clean and just like the wobble that you get from it is just it apparently is very, very hard to really wrap your head around until you put your hands on it and try it. And yeah, a lot of guys just didn't get what they wanted on that one, I think, and we saw a pretty significant dip in log from like log performances from this year from last year.
Yeah, and we had
I think it was ended up being a 7-way tie for second.
Yeah,
on that.
Yeah, we saw Gabriel.
I guess out of the final, it was a
4-way tie because
a few of those athletes didn't make the final.
Yeah,
but it was a 7-way tie in the heats themselves.
Yeah, and Gabriel, ever the student of JF, also has a knee injury, and we watched him try for that 400, and he's a really good presser. And I watched him, I'm like, this will be easy money for Gabe. He's got 1, maybe 2 with this, and he just couldn't do it. And then he went back to the 360 and then strict pressed 3 reps with it because he couldn't use his fucking knee. So he strict presses it 3 times, like just unbelievably strong. I saw a clip of Gabe strict pressing a 380 log leading up to this competition, like just unbelievable, dude.
Was the knee already hurting it, or was he doing it as a variation?
I think his knee was already hurting at that point. Yeah, I think it's been caused. The Rayums, I think they need a little bit of time. Like Fred has been kind of forced with a tricep surgery. And I think that tricep surgery is going to allow him to heal a lot of other little issues that he's been having, little problems, whatever. And I think that Gabe could probably use a little bit of relaxation time, but that's just not really how the Twins operate. So we'll see. They'll probably be competing next weekend or the weekend after.
Yeah. So we'll move on past Josh Pataka. Like can't say enough of good things about his performance. I mean, a first, a second, a third, a first, and then a sixth on the Stones that he didn't need to do.
Didn't really give a shit about it. Yeah.
Like some of the other categories had domination like that, where like the next athlete really wasn't that far behind because it was kind of a 2-horse race the whole time. But this was not one of those categories.
No,
the points were being spread around all over the place. So Jeffers ended up securing second place.
Congratulations to our friend James Jeffers.
Yeah, secured an invite back to Giants Live. So really excited to see him do that. I hope they can get a more favorable time.
Yeah.
For his showing there, because I know James had a lot going on with work.
Yeah.
Before that, his Giants
having a baby, like
yeah,
there's a lot.
Oh, that's not going to change by next year.
The baby will be almost ready to move out by next year, I think. So it'll be a little different for him. But
yeah. So
if you've seen the size of his kid, you'll understand that this kid is aging rapidly. He is ready to start driving pretty soon, I think.
So really excited to see Jeffers back. I hope at a time where he can really focus on a prep for it.
Yeah. And if we're talking,
throw a deadlift in there, maybe throw a power stairs in there.
Yeah, now we're talking.
And although they do power stairs or stones,
like a more traditional grip event too would be good for him too. I think like a farmer's Hercules hold. Yeah.
I think a good top half finish.
Yeah.
Obviously with the right events.
We're talking like solely about what's like hard line for sure happening with his invite, but we know from the past that it's entirely possible he gets an invite to Worlds directly from this too.
Yep.
We've seen them go a lot further down than second place to get a Worlds invite than for OSG. Sixth.
I'm blanking on the name. I was trying to think of the name. Canby, Nicholas Canby.
We've seen them, in fact, skip fifth place and go to sixth. So actually, I should say that we think that James could get an invite, but it's entirely possible they'll skip him and go to the next gentleman instead. It's happened in the past.
I mean, you can't really make a wrong choice with the next couple of gentlemen either. Because in third place, in my opinion, one of the standout overall performances of OSG weekend, Matthias Funiok.
Yeah.
Which I got to say, so as anyone who joins our World's Strongest Man prediction pools will know, I bet on up-and-comers.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I was the only one who picked Rain O'Neill to make it out of the heats at World's Strongest Man this year, and I actually predicted him coming top 5.
Yeah.
And obviously nobody else picked him in the final. Now I was wrong because I picked him to be 5th. I didn't pick him to win, so he didn't get me that much points. Just one.
But though.
But yeah, I bet on up and comers, and I think generally I do quite well on knowing who has who's about to like break through.
Well, I can think of one particular Canadian athlete that you had your eye on pretty early compared to some of the other people that we know, which is he ended up doing pretty well in the world of strongman.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if I've ever told that story on the stream or on the podcast, but I followed Mitch Hooper when he was at like 700 and some followers, and he messaged me after I followed him, and he said oh, hey, thanks for following. Is there I really appreciate it. Is there anything that I can help you with? And I said no, I just saw you and
you were like, yes, win World's Strongest Man for me. He was like, you got it, buddy.
It was like your lifts are really impressive, and I want to see how far you can go. Yeah. So, a
lifetime ago, it feels like now, eh?
Yeah, that was that would have been. I followed him in September of 2021.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you telling me about him. I remember you saying that there's this Canadian guy who is living in Australia and set some crazy deadlifting records out there, and seems to be changing his focus to actual full strongman competitions now.
So that probably mostly just says that I follow a lot of people on Instagram.
You do. It's almost certain that if I see someone who's strength sport related, it'll be followed by you. But that's because you have your ear to the ground of the strongman game. The strength game.
So Matthias Funiok is another athlete. I'm following him for probably around a year now, and I'm really high on his potential. But going into OSG, where I kind of dropped
that a little bit was he got second at OSG Europes.
Right.
And he got second to Ole Pilipiak. And I was actually very, very... I was very much on the hype train for both of those athletes. Mm-hmm. And then we saw Ole at a Giants Live. Mind you, it was a pretty late call up,
right,
for that Giants Live.
That's not representative of what he can do. I don't think that performance at Giants Live.
No, but it definitely shows that like he has some big holes in his game, mm-hmm. where like I think most Giants Live athletes wouldn't have that big of a difference between necessarily being like out of shape versus being peaked for a Giants Live.
That's a good point.
He was the only athlete that didn't finish the sandbag run or the loading medley at Giants Live, mm-hmm. and then that just really seemed to like he just could not recover.
No, it's like maybe the speed of the show or something. It just seemed like he never really bounced back.
I think so. I think it was a cardio mm-hmm. issue, and like cardio is going to affect your recovery between events. So with like all recovery is aerobic. Mm-hmm. Because your other energy systems have to not turn off, but they have to be slowed down in order for them to recover. Where your aerobic system doesn't really need to. So your body bumps up energy from aerobic systems that allows you to recover, your phosphocreatine, your glycogen, those other shorter term energy systems. If your aerobic system isn't able to contribute as much, then you're going to have slower recovery for those other energy systems. And I think that's really what we saw. He didn't have the aerobic system to outlast the sandbag, and then he just didn't recover between events with a faster paced show like Giants Live. And then it started to even affect the more static events because he was just so under-recovered as the competition went on. But seeing how much Ole struggled with that Giants Live appearance, and knowing that he still beat Matthias, I thought, maybe I'm getting a bit too excited about these guys. Maybe they do still have like more time to develop. But man, did that kid perform?
Yeah, didn't seem that way.
Speaking of kid, I don't think I mentioned this. Matthias is 20 years old.
20, yeah, unbelievable.
20 years old. He's like, I don't know if they set a weight for him, but he's like 6'5".
Yeah, he's gigantic.
Probably like 350.
Yeah,
I would guess. And he looks like Kieliszkowski.
He does, yeah. He's just a very Polish look to him.
He looks like Kieliszkowski. He has events like Kieliszkowski, like those events where he can just blow you away. Very much Kieliszkowski, Kieliszkowski in that way. He's a very, very solid presser. That's probably like the only real difference it seems between them. Kieliszkowski's a bit of a better presser. Matthias hasn't technically beaten Kieliszkowski's max deadlift because even though he's known as being a pretty poor deadlifter, Kieliszkowski's done a 925 deadlift. He's inconsistent. He's had some back issues and some injuries that lead to his deadlift being inconsistent. And yeah, a 925 at the level that the rest of his events are at is considered a bad deadlift.
Right. It's all relative.
Yeah. So Matthias he's not quite there. He's deadlifted 400 kilos. He's also 20 years old.
Yeah. Talk about having time.
He's been doing Strongman for 4 years. He said that he gained 40 kilos in his first year of Strongman. So I just like, and if the difference in performance from OSG Europes to OSG Worlds is just his development, then man, if he gets an invite to Worlds, I'm definitely putting him in my top 5.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it'd be crazy not to. And the way he moves and stuff too, he looks, he's got a gas tank. He's athletic. Like I think that there's something to be said for all that too. Like he did really well on the sandbag carry, the steeplechase.
I mean, yeah, third there, but 810-pound frame, 100 feet in 18.27 seconds for first place there. He's like one of the few that was taking points off of Josh.
Yeah.
First place on the frame carry, and then the stone run.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That
Polish power again.
Heavy, awkward stones. Like a lot of the guys in this open division finished it, but like Jeffers we know of as one of like the best stone loaders and a very cerebral athlete. So like when it comes to natural stones, he's not the type that's just going to get frustrated because he can't figure a stone out.
Yeah.
But Matthias, it didn't look like it mattered. Like
he was very Kielskowski in that way, where it looked like
he just lifted it.
He just lifted it. It's like, why didn't everyone do this? Like it's just that's what it looked like when he did it. It was the same when we saw Kielskowski, when I watched him do it at the Magnus, where he just made it look so easy. It was like, maybe it wasn't as hard as I thought it was, because he just made it look so fucking easy that it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was incredible. And the last thing that I'll say about Matthias too is they lost his luggage.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, they lost his luggage before the competition. He borrowed he apparently he texted Nick Gardione, and he asked to borrow a deadlift suit.
Oh, really? Wow.
So Nick Gardione came to the venue with a deadlift suit, and he tried to put on, did not fit. He was too big.
Those are very specifically fit things.
Yeah, so I think they did end up finding one, but then the airline called him the morning of day number 3, what they called day 2, where that had the deadlift ladder.
Right.
And his luggage had arrived, so he drove to the airport, and apparently they sped back to the venue, and he made it just in time for the deadlift ladder.
Let that be a lesson to all my strongmen and strongwomen out there. Put your competitive gear in your carry-on. Do not check your competitive gear. That happens. This happens. It seems to happen more and more. More frequently these days.
Overseas.
Yeah, with more. If you have any number of connecting flights, just don't put your shit in your checked bag. It's honestly a pretty good chance, all things considered, that something bad will happen. It's like not as slight of a chance as you think. When I came back from the Cuba competition, they were trying to ask people to check bags for free because we were running out of space, whatever. And I was like, sure, I'm done competing. You can take my bag and check it. And they lost it. It was one flight, no connection, and it was lost.
I don't even know how they do that.
I don't know either. It was amazing. So I'm just saying it happened. So don't take that chance.
Yeah. So very easy for a young athlete to get rattled.
For sure.
By something like that. And I mean, you might be able to say that he was one rep with the 400-pound log. He's a 200-kilo log presser.
Right.
But a lot of guys who are in and around the same max as him, they also only hit 1 rep.
Right.
Josh was the only guy to get 2. And then the deadlift, he only got 2 bars, so he got 10th in the final. He got last place in the deadlift ladder. He's a 400-kilo deadlifter, so probably should have been at least at 3 bars.
Yeah.
If not 4. But that was also the morning where he had to speed to the airport and back,
right,
and get there just in time for his deadlift run.
I bet he slept like shit, concerning himself with not having his stuff. You know what I mean? It's just all things that could very easily affect somebody's mindset going into a competition.
Yeah. So props to him for 20 years old, still held it together that well.
Yep.
I mean, he gets to go to a Giants live, and I would be shocked. This is the one where just the fact that he's 20 years old, he's huge. He has those events where he can just blow people away. I do think this could be a situation where if they're doing World's Strongest Man invites, they might hop over a guy like James.
Already, being Canadian, they don't like that too much. They like their set number of Canadian guys to be there. And if they're thinking purely for who we're building for the future, a 20-year-old guy, James isn't an old guy, but I think he's 33. So they're going to be thinking about a long-term investment in a guy like that, probably. I hope it's not the case, but I
hope they both get invited.
I hope they both get invited. But we've seen strange political decisions be made in the past for World's Strongest Man. So hopefully that's not the case here.
I mean, and then because we were talking about not necessarily skipping over people, but it was and then 4th place was Josh Spurgeon, who tied Matthias on points.
Yeah,
but Matthias had that insane stone run,
right?
And stone tiebreaker.
Yep, that's all it takes. But Josh does get apparently it's a new thing as of this year that 4th place gets an invite to the Magnus for Magnuson Classic in Iceland.
Yeah,
so he'll be going and doing that next year, which we can look forward to watching him do that, because I think that'll be a good competition for him.
I think the Magnus Classic should have an invite to Giants Live.
The winner of that? Yeah, I would agree. I think that just keep it as a system that sort of feeds into itself like that. I think that would be, if you're winning the Magnus Classic, you're entirely ready for a Giants Live. I think. And
it also it makes sense. 4th at OSG, you get an invite, one more chance to prove yourself.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense.
It seems like a very natural progression.
Yeah.
If they were to do that. So somebody send this podcast to Colin Bryce and Darren Sadler.
Yeah, they'll already know. Don't worry, they'll already have heard it.
And then there were a few other kind of standout performances. Oscar Zolkowski.
It was nice to see him competing.
Yeah, really great to see people who have been to Worlds. Worlds is in like World's Strongest Man, not OSG World Final,
right?
And they're willing to like, okay, you didn't have the result that you wanted. Actually, yeah, he went Worlds and Arnold's.
And Arnold's too, where he also didn't have the result that he wanted.
Yeah, and I mean he earned a spot at the Arnold's.
Right.
He won the Arnold Amateurs.
That's right. He was the probably the first case of it being like, ooh, this was one that didn't really pan out for him.
Oh yeah, because there was a stretch where just like the Arnold Amateurs was just producing
Star
talent.
maker, yeah.
Like for the people who don't like follow the Arnold Amateurs like quite as much, you had like in nearly back-to-back years, it was like Matyas Kieliszkowski, Alexei Novikov, Bobby Thompson,
Rob Kearney.
I think there's still a couple names that we're forgetting there, but it was just like every year was just like super, super high level guys coming out of the Arnold Amateurs. So yeah, Oscar Zolkowski was kind of the first guy where he didn't immediately jump up to the next level and make a splash, and it almost felt like, is the amateur like it was such a shock that it was like, oh, maybe we've kind of tapped this out.
You started hearing those whispers that it's like, okay, there's not the guarantee that the winner of the Arnold, and I'm not sure if that was ever officially changed or if it was ever like actually officially the rule when you register that it's like written down somewhere that the winner of this goes on to the big show. But you did start hearing that as like, yeah, this year the winner's not guaranteed a spot or whatever, which hasn't been the case so far. The winner's always gone on to be invited.
Andrew Burton coming
up.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So it's still the case, but there was whispers of that, and then I think that was also the same year maybe that Aaron Murray won the women's side. So it was a rough year for both the men's and the women's with her being like just so undersized at that time, whatever. But it's all shaken out.
But yeah, so great to see Oscar Zolkowski back, and then Ryan Rulis, who apparently competed against Mitch Hooper in like Mitch's first or second strongman competition.
I heard say that,
and right on cue, Mitch was talking about Ryan having a fantastic grip and absolutely crushed the frame carry like pretty early on before like we really got a sense of like who was going to be right near the top. And did the whole run in under 20 seconds, and being a pretty undersized open guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like he's probably the type of guy that a U120 division would be made for.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I don't know if I have much else to talk about. Jack Osborne apparently broke his foot on the first event.
Brutal.
He dropped the log, and the crash pad just compressed enough.
Jack Osborne trying to viper press the log. Why are guys
for a walk?
Why are guys doing that still? Like, why is that something that we're still seeing? Like,
it was super common at the Shaw Open.
Yeah,
you're not. It's a log press for time, and you're not getting 15 reps.
No, and there's no split times, and there's no like you know that 3 reps is going to be really really good with this 400 log. Why would you do that? I Maybe it was like it just sort of came to him in the moment where it just felt great, so he just fucking went for it or something. I don't know, because I just that in terms purely of strategy, that just makes no sense to me.
The only person that I'm okay with doing that is Kieliszkowski.
Kieliszkowski at the Santa Monica Arnold. That's the only that's the guy who's going to be able to do it.
Or even doing it on a whim.
Yeah.
Like at the Rogue Invitational.
Yeah,
when he set the record for the yoke into log before Mitch Hooper broke it.
Yeah.
And he was telling, I can't remember if it was Liz or Laws, but I had surgery on tricep. I don't know how long's gonna go. I'm gonna take my time, and then he basically just like he picked
Liar.
it up and he was like, Viper.
Yeah, I get confused when I see that. Like it's just not a sound strategy, and he didn't get that rep that he tried for the Viper. And then I think he ended up getting 1 with the 400. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it could have been more for him there. And I'm not saying he wouldn't have broken his foot or whatever. I'm not even sure what rep. Did that happen on the Viper?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either. So
I just let it happen. Like it still hit the crash pads,
but
it compressed.
It was just so heavy. Yeah.
Some denser crash pads.
That's a rough one. Let's go to the open, the day 1 and day 2 on the opens, so we can shout out all the Canadians who were in it.
Yeah.
I know we had, I think the next highest one was, Yannick Boucher.
Yeah, almost made the final.
Yeah, and I honestly, I did pick him for the finals. With a deadlift event and a frame event in the what's what I'm looking for, the qualifier or whatever. Yeah, I really, really thought that he was going to get a pass into the finals, and just wasn't quite there. The log was rough for him. And that was pretty much enough. It was like enough for it to be not in there for him.
Yeah. 23rd on log, but then 10th, 11th, 19th. A little bit rough on the sandbag.
The sandbag run didn't go well either.
Yeah. I mean, he had, if I remember correctly, he had maybe like the fastest first 50 with the frame. It was on the way back, his grip. I think it took him like 3 total picks.
Yeah.
To get the way back.
We had Billy Hornaday, who has become something of an athlete of note from the competition due to some poor commentary choices. But ignoring all that, we talked about that a little bit already, and everyone, if you're not aware, Mitch Hooper said something dumb and whatever. But Billy was fun to watch out there. He's like a very infectious sort of attitude when he's competing. Like he's there to have fun and be a good representation of himself and his family and his country and all that shit. And he is fun to watch compete.
Yeah, and Billy's developing so fast. Like, really excited to see kind of over the next 2-3 years, like as he brings his static strength up in a match. He's great.
He's very athletic.
Yeah, very athletic. He's great at moving. I think. Actually, I don't know his stones specifically. I know he's great at loading with like sandbags and stuff. I was thinking like I would have been really interested to see him on the natural stones.
Long limbs. He's tall guy.
And being very explosive. It would have been great to see him there. But I mean, like I said, give him a few years for his static strength to kind of catch up to his moving ability, and I think he can pull himself into a OSG finals.
Shout out to Billy too, because he gave me a ride home from the gym, or a ride back to the hotel from the gym when we were in Calgary. Doesn't know me very well, but he still did that. So very nice.
Him and I were volunteering in the same lane.
Right.
All of nationals, and
that's a way to get to know somebody. Because you're spending a lot of time with that person, and you're doing.
I mean, we're basically just yelling at competitors the whole time.
But you know his essence though now. Yeah. You know so much about him by the way that he treats the athletes and talks to them and stuff. You know that he's a good guy.
Yeah, I don't know if any lane had quite as much of a hyped crew around them as our lane 3.
There was a moment that Jian pointed out. This as a weird aside, where I felt like for a lot of the stone running, the guys who were on the other side spotting it were like, "Come on, give it to us." And there was just this weird moment where, like, maybe someone told them to do that, because there was like a women's run or two where they were just like standing there, like it was like this weird like druid, like they were just like all of them were completely somber and just like their hands were folded in front of them, and it almost felt like it was like in protest of one of the athletes or something. Like it wasn't that, but it's kind of what it felt like, and it was absolutely bizarre. I'll have to go back and try to find it and show it to you, because it was just like the light was over them, so like their faces were shadowed and stuff. Like it was just very, very strange. What do we have for time here?
We're at 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's take this bad boy home here.
We're done. I don't think there's any. There was one more Canadian athlete.
Right. Yeah. Very unfortunate. Sean Hayes. I think he showed up kind of held together with like spit and duct tape. Hurt himself on the log. Still went and did the Extinct Games in Singapore. Still carried a 560 kilogram yoke, which is, I don't know, man. If you've carried 1,000 pounds, you know how different 1,000 is from say 800. I can't imagine what 560 kilograms feels like. Can you give me that in pounds? You know, at the top of your head, like 12 something.
It'd be like 1237-ish.
Outrageous. I can't even imagine the pressure that you would feel trying to walk with that. So, shout out to Sean for doing that, and shout out to Dave Blake who won his division on that one too. What do we got there?
12:35.
12. Pretty
I was
good.
off by 2.
Pretty good. Absolutely outrageous. It was. He hurt his shoulder on that one. You could see that he's posting on his Instagram quite a bit of bruising and ugliness from that. So hopefully he can take this time now, chill, because I want to see him back, and I want to see at Western specifically. I want to see him run shit like he can at Westerns.
It'd be really nice to see like a stacked Westerns again.
Well, things might be looking different this year if certain invites go out to certain people. You never know who's going to be there this year. James Jeffers. If he gets an invite to Worlds, he doesn't have to do Westerns again.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But either way, we're talking about like for Westerns this year is going to be just like looking at the improvement that you see from some guys here, from Billy here and Langlar taking second place already this year. Westerns is going to be a hell of a competition this year. It's going to be really, really awesome.
Tristan, probably not, but
has
bigger things. But
he'll be there.
You never know how invites are gonna pan out. Like,
right.
But Tristan's not the, what is it, Arnold's?
No, he's not doing the Arnold's.
So you never know how his season's going to look if he just has the time.
Yeah. Yep.
He Westerns isn't a super heavy show.
It's been announced that Westerns will be held at the Calgary Stampede this year, which is
cool. I knew the weekend. I didn't know it was at
the
Stampede.
No, it's at the Stampede, which is going to be insane. So that's something that somebody might just jump in on and just do, even if you don't need to do it, because that's
especially a native Alberta boy.
It's Canada's strongest man right there at home.
He's not native Alberta; he's from Saskatchewan, but
he's actually not a native Alberta boy. That's true. Yeah, he's a Saskatchewan fella, but that's something.
Hometown Alberta boy.
There you go. No. Oh, now it's
as
his
in
home.
like hometown crowd.
Currently living in Alberta.
Yeah, not his hometown. He's the hometown.
He's the hometown hero of his crowd. Yes, I could see him just jumping in and doing it because that would just be a very rare opportunity to compete in front of whatever kind of crowd's going to be there. It's going to be nuts. So bring your A games to that one, boys, because you don't want to embarrass yourself there. Do you have any other thoughts that you want to share on the OSG as a whole? Or
no, I
like seeing the Japanese competitors too. By the way, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
there's a couple of good ones there.
I just like it was OSG keeps getting better year after year.
Yeah.
Both in terms of the competition, in terms of the competition isn't like how well the athletes are performing, how competitive every category is, and then also in terms of the overall setup, the live stream, how it's presented, how the competition is laid out. I thought that the mix of the category groupings, doing 2 events and then being done for the day, I thought that was fantastic. The one thing that I just remembered that I would like to see back is a 3-event final.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. It just seemed to go really fast when you're watching it, and you're deciding who's the top person in each division. You watch that first one, you're like, shit, we're already halfway done this now, and it's
and the final was a pretty short day.
Yeah,
I think maybe it was it might have been just a plan to conserve the time with the category swaps.
Yeah.
But yeah, the final finished pretty early. I wouldn't mind just it was the shortest out of the 4 days.
Put the throw in there.
Yeah,
bring the sandbag throw
really
back.
Like the throw in OSG.
I like it too, and I think it's got a lot of history there with a lot of guys doing really awesome shit with it. Whether it's Guardion or Wes, guys have just done awesome runs on that sandbag, and I think that it's a fast enough event that you could probably throw that in there without it affecting the. I mean, it's going to make the show longer, but it's not going to make it crazy longer.
Yeah. I think it would make it pretty similar to the other days.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's our coverage of OSG, the biggest weekend in all of Strongman, at least purely by the numbers. Thank you, Michael Thrones, for joining me. Thank you for watching it the way that you do. Thank you for your detail-oriented review.
My pleasure.
Great. Glad
I always
like
to talk Strongman.
Everyone likes to hear about it too. We always get great feedback on our episodes here with Michael. Jian couldn't be here tonight. She's not even behind the camera. Mike is producing this one even, because I don't know how.
Yeah, so the audio might be way off.
It might be a weird episode. We'll see. But anyway, either way, it's been a lot of fun here. Shout out to OSG. Shout out to Official Strongman. Shout out to everyone who makes that competition happen. And shout out to all the Canadian athletes who went and competed. It was really fun to watch you guys, and you guys did a great job of representing Canadian Strongman. Sign up for Iron Claw. All the information's on our Instagram. We've got more cool stuff coming up this season. We're really excited to start announcing some of that. We're still giving you guys a little bit of a breather from all the Strongman stuff. But we will see you guys next time I see you.
I don't know what we're going to talk about.
It's a mystery.